All right, gang, we're going to start this in an interesting way. And I think it's quite fitting, considering people are starting to compare the two for some weird fucking reason. I don't know why. I think because people don't know how to fucking interact with romance manga or romance in their shows in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, we're gonna start with talking about Don to Don. In particular, I do think it's somewhat relevant. I kind of like this post where someone pointed something out because I think it really matches Ruka's character in a lot of ways. But it also like reflects a different form of naivety. So let's read it really quick. Let's read it really quick. So welcome, gang. It's been a hot minute. Hi, how are y'all doing? Is the title of the next episode "Legitimate Girlfriend" for real? What do you mean? That was literally what Chizuru said. That's what she said. Are you guys stupid? That's literally what she said in the actual translation. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's literally what she said. I'm his real girlfriend. I'm the legitimate girlfriend. That's what she fucking said. Why is that weird? It makes perfect sense. Like, y'all can't take shit and just, like, not read it at face value for 2 seconds. 2 seconds? Which is really funny because she did become his girlfriend after that point. They were dating. Yeah, they had a weird moment in the 3-month time skip, but they were dating. Like, straight up. She took him to her family home. He lived with her. They went on like 2 or 3 dates while living together. They had a lot of very intimate moments right after. But the whole point was that they started dating after that point, and they didn't know how to cope with it. And neither of them has processed that they're already dating. She is his girlfriend. Like, literally, they started dating after Hawaiians. That happened. But they literally just don't know how to process and cope with it. It's a new weird experience for both of them, and neither of them know what to fucking do. Anywho, we're going to read this from real quick. So, this person says, from Arya's POV, love is something you can win if you work hard enough. That should sound very familiar if you're familiar with Ruka's character, right? She keeps trying harder and harder and harder and harder, hoping to win Kazuya over, you know? But now, what's interesting about the narrative right now is that Ruka, where she is like not doing that, but she is. And she's kind of in this like weird limbo where I think what Ruka's trying to do is kind of similar to what Arya's trying to do. And it's pretty much just seal the relationship with intimacy, whereas Arya's trying to seal the relationship with a kiss. And I think like Ruka knows the kiss did not seal the relationship, so she's trying to go even further, even though it's actually making Ruka incredibly uncomfortable to do so. She's literally trying to force intimacy because she thinks if a part of her, I believe, thinks that if she forces intimacy with Kazuya, in particular sex, well, if you had sex with someone, you have to stay with them, you have to take responsibility. So do you see how in some ways she's kind of, without realizing it, trying to force Kazuya into a relationship? Which is very fitting because you have Minnie who's her opposite. Minnie is essentially trying to force him into a relationship with Chizuru. Right? So they're kind of like flips, right? She's trying to force him into a relationship with her, and Minnie's trying to force him into a relationship with Chizuru. Then you have Mami and Sumi, who are like actively passive characters who want a relationship but make no real effort to be in said relationship. They leave all the effort to him. Mami does it by like essentially guilting him into saying like, oh, I have feelings for you, right? Like when she asks him that, she's essentially confessing, but she's leaving the answer up to him rather than just admitting it to herself. And then you have Sumi, who's the flip of Mami, where Sumi is essentially confessing to him constantly, but never making it clear, oh, this is like what I actually feel outside of rental. And basically every character is like forging and molding Kazuya in a situation that he's kind of lost himself and doesn't know how to deal with. And so what's fascinating about Arya is that that's how her world has always worked. Popularity, effort, being the best. So she approaches Ken the same way, trying to prove she's the better option without really considering his feelings. what is Ruka doing right now without even realizing it? So what's so fascinating about the current narrative text of Rent-A-Girlfriend is that when I read the Ruka chapters, I'm like, wow, Ruka's really ignoring Kazuya's feelings. But then you get to the chapter right after, right? So the chapter right after Ruka leaves, I believe it's 407. Yeah, it's 407. Now, Ruka is about to call Chizuru, right? Ruka pulls up Chizuru's contact info and she's about to call her. And what stops her? Pay attention. She remembers Kazuya would want to have sexual relations with Chizuru. Okay. Then she says, then she remembers how Chizuru was the one who even got her this relationship. And then the most important one, that Nagomi likes her. She would sully Nagomi's feelings. The irony of Ruka stopping here is that she's not doing it for Kazuya. Right? Kazuya is the first thing she thinks of. But what's the last thing she thinks of and the thing that like really stops her from taking action? Right? It's so ironic that she considers Kazuya's feelings when calling Chizuru, but she doesn't consider Kazuya's feelings when literally sexually assaulting him. I think that dichotomy is fascinating. She processes people's emotions when they say them to her and it's clear to her, but when she's chasing her desires so destructively, she doesn't even think about Kazuya's feelings. I think that's a very important thing, a very important distinction Reiji's trying to highlight is this this idea of Ruka being trapped between two different parts of her, right? The physical part of her who chases this thing relentlessly, and the emotional part of her, and emotional and mental part of her who can kind of stop and be like, I'm doing something wrong here. In particular, she doesn't want to go against Nagomi, who likes her, right? If she did this, right? Remember, this is what made me realize like what was going on in Hawaiians. For the longest time, I never understood Ruka's reasoning in Hawaiians. Like I told people I didn't really. Like I always felt like I was kind of missing something. I'm like, what's Ruka's reasoning in chapter 225? I'm not clocking it. You know, something doesn't feel quite right. What's her reasoning in chapter 225? And upon watching the episode recently, I'm like, oh, Nagomi is her reasoning. That's her entire fucking reason. It's Nagomi. It's not anything else, because what does Nagomi do that Kazuya never did? Right? What does Nagomi do that Kazuya never did? She tells her, I like you. I love you as well. I like you. She says the one thing Ruka wanted to hear. She did the one thing for Ruka that she wanted to hear. So if she ruins Nagomi's smile, she would literally go against like the one thing she's always desired, which is to be loved and wanted. She's fucking wanted. So if that's Ruka's whole reasoning. What Ruka's doing here is for Nagomi. She's stopping Nagomi from essentially destroying the thing she loves. Because if Nagomi goes through with what she's trying to do here, she would destroy Chizuru. And literally Ruka describes Chizuru from how Nagomi sees her as her own daughter. So I'm like, oh, that's the reasoning. Okay, that makes so much more sense. She's not really fully doing this for Kazuya. Not completely. It's for Nagomi, the only person who told her, I love you. I like you too. You are welcome too. You belong too. You are part of the narrative too. So why would she sully her own position? Why would you destroy the thing you already have and choose to be a nobody? Right? She's already somebody. So that's what Ruka is processing in this moment, in my opinion. She's like, I would destroy what I have if I choose to do this. Ruka can't commit to being a villain. She can't do it. She's starting to realize, like, so I would argue Ruka is much further along than Arya. She's starting to realize, and she's dealing with a lot more like adult subject matter, where she kind of can't actually hurt them. She was telling him the truth. She can't actually go through with hurting him because she actually does like him. Whereas with were we here? Which one were we on? Yeah, whereas with Arya, she's not really putting Ken's feelings into account. This is where it gets interesting. From a physical sense, Ruka's effort is not demeaning Kazuya's feelings. That's because, ironically, she's still doing the same thing and has not realized it. She's still not thinking about his feelings. So, essentially, what's going on with Ruka is that two things are true at the same exact time. One, on one hand, she absolutely is thinking about his feelings. On the other, she's also completely ignoring them when she's physically assaulting him. Literally, look at how she interprets Kazuya's reaction here. She thought he was cute. Nani? Nani the fuck? Right? It from her perspective, it was cute. But look at her, she's completely like shadowed. She doesn't even know what the hell she's looking at. She's blind to how she's ignoring his feelings. She's blind to herself. In contrast, I would argue Arya is kind of is doing something similar, but not quite the same. I think Ruka is dealing with far more adult subject matter, whereas Arya is still just kind of a teenager, right? And I think what this person further elaborates on, it very much aligns with that. It's sad and messed up that she seems to still think the same way she did the first time she tried to force a kiss on him. That a confession is sealed with a kiss, and the guy has to accept it, right? She believes she can make him fall for her because she earned him. What's interesting about Ruka is that she's saying she's not doing this, and yet she doesn't realize she subconsciously is. So Ruka is essentially having the exact conflict Kazuya is. She's having a conflict between her conscious mind and her subconscious mind. Her conscious mind does not like what the fuck she's doing, right? Her conscious mind's like, oh, no, I can't do this. This is wrong. I can't fucking do this. Her subconscious mind is like, no, I want this really, really badly because I keep physically interacting with this person and I can't resist anymore. Now, why are we talking about Ruka? Right? You're probably all wondering, why the fuck are we talking about Ruka? Because, good friends, chapter 423 is about Ruka. Chapter 423 is about Ruka. It's a chapter disguising us from the real issue. It's a chapter literally disguising Ruka and using Chizuru as the perfect vessel to do so. I think the opening page of chapter 423 is, I wouldn't call it a double entendre. It's like a hidden meaning. Chizuru stands behind a vessel that will take you where you need to go. Chizuru is literally in shadows, dressed in a very particular way that alludes to a very particular character. It's almost like Chizuru is a disguise for Ruka, a perfect vessel to disguise the ugliness of this chapter. Just as Kazuya's entire thing that he's doing here acts as a perfect vessel, a perfect, beautiful vessel to disguise the issues that are actually going on. The trip is planned out. He's imagining an amazing kiss. He sees a perfect, beautiful scenery. Right? We're literally illuminated by such an amazing fantasy that we love it. We're just like, this is the shit, right? And then you see Mommy, and you're like, oh, damn, Mommy's being cute. Kazuya's having some cute interactions with Mommy, right? But that's the interesting thing. Mommy acts as a reversal of him. Whereas externally, she's cute. Internally, she's not. Kazuya, in contrast, right, when we see his picture, it's literally disguising the interior, right? His exterior looks ugly, right? At least in the picture. But in his like how he looks great, right? He's like, I should try to look even better, the real one, right? He's getting confident. He actually looks very charming and wonderful and kind of cute. And that's kind of contrasted, right? So this is disguising like the way Kazuya really looks. Whereas Mami, what's being disguised here isn't the way Mami looks, right? It's how she internally looks, right? Here, right, Mami looks cute here as she does right here. It's aligned. The two things match. Whereas here, this image doesn't match this image. How Kazuya looks here does not match how Kazuya looks here. You know? The picture is not lining up. Just as here, this picture doesn't align with Chizuru. It's inconsistent. This isn't the character. This is not Chizuru. This is Chizuru disguising a very particular character who also wears ribbons, who also wore a black swimsuit, who also is a shining star, who also has two hearts and is really into this thing, right? The vessel, the car, if you will, is quite literally disguising the real problem. The real issue we have to discuss. This is the real issue, the real thing that we got to deal with. This is the ugliness that Kazuya is disguising. Now, what's so interesting about this is that this is directly relevant to Hawaiians. Kazuya and Chizuru in Hawaiians are essentially the perfect vessel for what is it? For Nagomi, Kibe, and Mami to disguise their own ugliness. Because Kibe looks heroic. Nagomi looks like she's doing the right thing in Hawaiians. Mami is using Chizuru and Kazuya to disguise her own internal ugliness. Right? They're the perfect vessels for it. And they all do it in varying degrees. Mami intentionally paints Chizuru and Kazuya as villains to hide from her own actions, her own shitty fucking behavior. In contrast, Kibe uses Kazuya as a perfect vessel to essentially disguise his own internal ugliness, that he doesn't believe in people, that he doesn't fucking trust people, that he very much doubts everybody around him, and he's incredibly cynical. Kibe is a very, very cynical person, and he doesn't want to come to terms with that, and he admires Kazuya because Kazuya is a dreamer, a believer in others. So Kibe is like, I want to have friends like you, so I can, it's good to have friends like you because I'm such a cynic. And then you see in the chapter how in many ways he's putting Kazuya on a fucking pedestal and demanding he become this perfect person who doesn't lie because he hates that he himself is a liar, that he himself is a cynic, that he constantly tells lies too. And there's constant like parallels between the early parts of the series that I'll get into with Kibe in just a sec. And then Nagomi, of course, pins all of Chizuru's, all of her hopes and ability to do things on Chizuru, right? Chizuru's beauty, Chizuru's perfection. Chizuru being with Kazuya, Chizuru being present in Nagomi's life represents the success she actually wanted from Kazuya. Wait, what? Chizuru is Nagomi's perfect daughter. That's what Chizuru is. She is her perfect princess daughter. She is literally what Nagomi wanted. She is essentially Kazuya's replacement. That is what Chizuru is to Nagomi, right? She disguises her own internal ugliness, that she has not been kind to Kazuya. She has treated Kazuya kind of like shit. He's a fucking afterthought to his own grandmother, something she literally admits to in the fucking arc, right? She straight up admits to this in the fucking arc. The problem is, in putting Chizuru on such a high fucking pedestal, the moment Chizuru doesn't align with this, the moment Chizuru doesn't align with this picture of perfection that Nagomi fucking wants, she treats Chizuru like shit, right? She's saying she's doing this for her best friend who just died recently. You're doing this for yourself. Nagomi, in Hawaiians, is doing what she's doing for herself. She's not doing it for Sayuri. Because Sayuri literally said, Chizuru is my pride and fucking joy. And I love you. And Chizuru, the only time Chizuru ever said, I love you, which by the way, you as the viewers see, but no one else does, right? One of the only fucking times Chizuru says, I love you in the entire manga, in the span of 423 chapters, is to Sayuri on her deathbed. Motherfucker. Nagomi's an asshole. You know? And so that's what I mean. Kazuya being with Chizuru, Kazuya doing impossible things, Kazuya not being a liar, makes Kibe believe in a silly fantasy that disguises his own internal ugliness. You know, he puts Kazuya on a pedestal so he doesn't feel like shit about himself. Nagomi does the same exact thing with Chizuru. She puts Chizuru on a pedestal so she doesn't feel shit about herself. And that is ironically what they instilled in Kazuya, and what Kazuya and Chizuru are in some ways, without meaning to, kind of doing to each other. Kazuya is using Chizuru as a vessel for his emotions and his feelings that he doesn't want to address in regards to Ruka. Right? Chizuru has become a vessel for Kazuya so that he doesn't have to deal with his own ugliness. The ugliness that he feels with Ruka. Ruka is the ugliness he's ignoring. This chapter is literally every single aspect of it, every single positive thing that it presents is a disguise for some sort of ugliness Kazuya is putting to the side and not dealing with. In that same way, the way you can kind of look at Chizuru is that Chizuru is maybe kind of the flip of Kazuya. She's so fixated on her ugliness, on her internal ugliness, that she doesn't see her beauty at all. And she's using Kazuya's beauty as a person to essentially look away from her own beauty. So she's kind of the reverse. She's so focused on preserving Kazuya's beauty as a person. She doesn't see that in many ways it's already disappearing. And she doesn't see how her ugliness is not what she thinks it is, and because she's not focusing on her beauty, she's hurting him. So Chizuru's kind of like the flip. She's so focused on her own internal ugliness that she doesn't see her external beauty. Kazuya is so focused on trying to look externally beautiful, he doesn't realize how his external is literally becoming ugly. It's kind of the flip. Chizuru is so fixated on the internal, Kazuya is so fixated on the external. His external is literally becoming ugly, and he doesn't see his internal beauty. Chizuru is so focused on her internal ugliness, she doesn't see her external beauty. So, yeah. Let's finish reading what this person said. So, although she knows how jealous Momo is of them, it doesn't matter. It's better for her to believe that Momo and Gigi are together, even if it's not true. If Momo is not an option for him anymore, then she can definitely win, right? Let's be a couple too. So this is what might make Umi like kind of an interesting factor here, where I could see Ruka being like, well, if Chizuru's dating Umi, then she's not an option anymore, then he has to be with me. And I don't know if Ruka would actually do that, but it would be an interesting thing to see, because there was the scene where Umi saw her holding his hand. Holding his arm. So who knows? It's kind of, who knows, you know? Umi seems to be of the same mindset, ironically, when it comes to their perspective on love, that if you like do enough, you'll win the person over. But at the same time, that doesn't feel accurate to Umi either. I feel like Umi isn't quite that. I think Ruka is more that. Umi's more of the, it's always worked, why isn't it working? Rather than, I've always put in this much effort. It doesn't feel like Umi puts in a whole lot of effort, whereas Ruka puts in a fuck ton of effort and nothing happens. Umi is like the opposite. He doesn't put in that much effort and it just fucking works. So it'd be kind of interesting to see if there's like some sort of interaction between like Umi and Ruka at some point. But yeah, we'll stop here for that. And it's the ugliest that Kazuya can't deal with by himself. Yes, exactly. You can't really... The entire motif of Rent a Girlfriend is that you can't really deal with your issues on your own. It's just nobody can really overcome the hardships of life on their own. That's just not a thing. Like everybody needs help. Umi is like the Rey Skywalker of Rent a Girlfriend. What does that even fucking mean? Oh, is it because she's a Mary Sue? Is it because Ray is a Mary Sue who can just fucking do anything? I wouldn't say Umi's a Mary Sue. I wouldn't say Umi's a Mary Sue. I think he's just a person who's had it very easy for a very long time. And he doesn't like deal with a lot of hardships. That's not really Ray. Ray is more of a MacGuffin. Ray is written more like a MacGuffin, where she just kind of can do things and there's no fucking reason why she can. Umi is kind of more of a literary commentary, where Umi is like, okay, he can do a lot of things in life. He's very privileged and has a lot going for him. But at the same time, like, that stops him from actually having real relationships, because the relationships never really consider his feelings, and he never really seems to consider the feelings of the people around him. He never really forges real relationships. He's just kind of seals the deal with a kiss, you know? So the fact that Chizuru and Kazuya kissed gets Umi to give up. Right? Oh, you kissed? Okay. Yep. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. You guys are dating. Wow. Okay. Wow. This is serious. Like, the kiss is what stops him. Just kind of exactly like how Ruka thinks like a sex would stop them. So I think what Ruka could try to do is like indirectly interact with Umi, but I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. Like, it does seem like there's going to be some sort of connection between Ruka and Umi. But it would be kind of interesting. I don't know if Reiji, maybe that's what Reiji's like considering, is like, maybe that's too much. Like Ruka scheming in the background with Umi, you know, or Ruka trying to reach to Umi. That would be kind of like, ugh. Really, Ruka? You do that? So maybe that's what Reiji's like considering, like worrying about. But who knows? Okay, so. Oh, so this was interesting. So for this chapter, remember we saw that the flowers were petunias. What was interesting is that I was reading this post from this Japanese user, and he says something kind of interesting. I envision you in a peach-colored sight, lost in delights, yet the splendors at my feet is merely for passing on life. Your profession knows the reason of flowers more than the flowers themselves. Is this a survival strategy? I don't know. So I asked him, is the flower name actually, or sorry, is the language of flower meaning actually what Kazuya said, or is it something else? And he says petunias have other flower meanings associated with different colors. The flower meaning of the pink color is a natural heart, meaning there's no mistake in what Kazuya is saying. And what's interesting is that the variety called peach-colored sai at the ranch overcomes the weakness of petunias, wilting in the rain. Through breeding improvements. This is related to Chizuru's Rain Woman jinx. So this is really interesting. Again, we've spoken about the Rain Woman thing in the past, where there's this entire like thing in Japanese culture where there's like women who are called Rain Women, who like whenever they show up, it rains as if they're raining on someone's parade. It sucks. But in another way, you could view it as bringing life to a place, right? When it rains, you bring water and life to a place. So here, it's almost like Kazuya is bringing these flowers that overcome the wilting in the rain. And I think that might be a subtle nod that we may not know about, you know, that Reiji's kind of indicating something, like Chizuru's maybe trying to overcome this aspect of herself that Kazuya doesn't even realize when he's doing this. I think that's really interesting, you know, that Chizuru is a rain woman and she's trying to change that about herself. So I think that's something interesting to talk about. You know, Chizuru is trying to maybe change her internal in some ways. And in another way, I was confused. So I'm just like, wait, Joe, could you share a link with me? So he shares a link with me. And I started looking at these things. And holy shit, I realized something kind of crazy. In this article, they talk about how petunias can look like other flowers. And there's two particular flowers, there's three particular flowers that they compare them to. One of which we saw recently. First off, petunias can look like morning glories. Oh, look! The morning glories that represents ephemeral love. A petunia can look like one. we see Mommy in this chapter. The chapter where Kazuya conveniently is talking about petunias. What are the odds, right? The ephemeral love is literally right there next to him. Then you have another one that it can look like. It can also look like a carnation, which represents parental love. That's interesting. Where did we see a carnation, I wonder? That's weird. Where the heck did we see a carnation? We saw a carnation on the Ichinose headstone, which represents motherly love. It's literally the flower of Mother's Day. Huh. And then finally, some even look like hibiscus, which represents delicate beauty and a new love. The appearance of this flower is misleading. Oh, look. It's almost like the thing I was talking about with the appearance of this cover misleading you on purpose is the fucking point. How interesting, then, that Kazuya finds these flowers on Mother Farm. And they sometimes look like carnations. The Mother's Day flower. So basically, all of these meanings relate to the relationship between Kazuya and Chizuru. Yes and no. So I think what Reiji is talking about is how things can be very blinding. And they can look like many different things. It's not so much about Kazuya's relationship with Chizuru as it is how Kazuya is blind by everything around him. How things look one way to you when you look at them, and how they can look completely different in another lens when you look at them. So Kazuya blatantly tells you these are petunias. He spells it out for you. Like, this is what they mean, this is their meaning, this is exactly what this is. This looks perfect, this looks like exactly right. You can feel some stuff is wrong, but what Reiji is trying to highlight to you is that you're not seeing things very clearly. And I think what he's doing in particular is leveraging this idea of people seeing things in a very particular way. And the thing that I'm gonna talk about really quick is that this Hispanic, is it Hispanic, Spanish? I'm not sure how to say it. This Hispanic user named Briff, who talks about Rent a Girlfriend a lot. Whenever I speak to him, he speaks in like very absolutes. Like he speaks in like whenever he sees a flower, it's just a hibiscus every fucking time. And I think Reiji knows a lot of readers are very curious about the flowers that what's going on with the camera? Camera-kun. Okay, we're good. I think. Okay. I think Reiji's noticed a lot of people are like trying to look into the flower meanings. And they see the flowers and they wanna know what they mean. And Reiji keeps showing flowers and like not telling you what it is. And so what Reiji's doing here is intentionally leveraging spelling the story the fuck out for you to misdirect you. He's like, here, I'm spelling it the fuck out for you, right? It's clear as day. You don't actually understand, do you? Right? He's intentionally spelling every little detail out for you to mislead you. Because if you dig a little deeper, which is what he wants, things will start appearing very differently. Whereas at the same time, there's a lot of people who are very much deluding themselves, who are sure the story is going to go in a very particular way because it's gone that way in the past. So he keeps giving them indicators of that too. Right? He keeps giving them indicators of that too. Oh, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. Right? Oh no, we're gonna go like basically he's pleasing everyone and no one at the same time, intentionally. He's both pleasing the people who are very hopeful for the confession and excited and, oh my God, all the good things are going to happen. While at the same time, we don't have a new chapter this week. While at the same time, he's giving all the indicators for the doomers. He's doing both. He's both delivering and dooming. And in so doing, you can't predict it. You have to be able to look past the dooming and the excitement. He's almost demanding it. He's almost demanding that you look past what you're seeing. And that's very fitting considering, like, this is pretty much the whole point of the story, is that we're using, this is where the meta commentary comes in. As Nagomi and Kibe used Kazi and Chizuru, and even Mami, used Kazi and Chizuru as perfect vessels to disguise their ugliness, many readers use romance manga and its beauty or its ugliness to disguise their own problems, to run away and not deal with their own problems. You're choosing to see something in a very particular way, so that way you don't have to deal with something else. Just as Kazuya is so focused on seeing how this looks, imagining it so truly, so perfectly, that it's disguising the real issue right in front of him. The issue quite literally at his doorstep that he's not addressing and dealing with. Right? He's using Chizuru, just as we're using the manga, as a perfect vessel to disguise our own internal ugliness. Right? And people do that in varying ways. We'll see something that's bad, and we'll label it as bad so we don't view ourselves as bad. Right? Not realizing how in labeling something as bad, we're maybe upset about something else, not just necessarily this particular thing, you know? So for instance, when we're upset at a particular political figure that I won't get into, it's in many ways disguising, like, our frustration with the system as a whole. Not simply just this political figure. Unfortunately, like, a lot of politics are symptoms of a bigger problem. Right? And people don't really want to get into that, you know? It's much easier to pin the blame on one particular person than it is to recognize there's a systematic issue. Just as here, it's much easier to look at a person very positively to disguise your own internal ugliness that you don't want to address. It's so much easier. That's why like, it's so much easier to love someone else than it is to love yourself. And this is exactly Kazuya's issue here. He's so focused on Chizuru that he doesn't look at himself or the people around him, right? He sees Mami. He remembers that incident, and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna just ignore that. And it seems dumb to you, like, at first glance. It seems really fucking dumb to you. Why would you just ignore that? Because it's so much easier than dealing with the uncomfortable truth of what the fuck happened with her. No, of course she's not gonna just forget it. But he chooses to engage with her and willfully closes his eyes. It shows how Sumi was actually a very bad influence on him. What you don't realize is that Sumi appeared like a very positive influence and Minnie ruined it. That's not what happened. If anything, Minnie was actually saying something kind of good, but just not good about this particular issue. Like I said before, Minnie addressed the symptom, not the actual problem. Here, you see how Sumi was a bad influence on Kazuya because he runs into Mami and he just kind of closes his eyes to the problem, quite literally. He sees Mami, he remembers what happened, and he's just like, yep, I'm going to close my eyes. Whereas you see Mami, eyes wide open. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, he's still engaging with me even after all that. Okay. Kazuya keeps talking to her. Notice his eyes are closed. She doesn't look at him. And then when she turns to him, she covers her mouth. I think it's intentional she's covering her mouth because I think she's smiling. I think underneath that, she's fucking smiling. She's covering her mouth just as Kazuya is covering his eyes. He's choosing to see things a very particular way, choosing blindness comfortably, whereas Mami covers her mouth because she's fucking smiling. Oh, I get to keep talking with him. Sweet. He doesn't see this. She blushes and turns away, and it's cute. Kazuya opens his eyes and is surprised. No, this is super awkward. She hands him the thing. He sees it, right? She says no, and she still gives it to him. Very tsundere. Oh, look, mommy's literally like leaning super hard into the tsundere element. She says no, but then it actually means yes, which is such a fucking problem, because what's the problem with that? That's such a fucking gateway issue into assault. That's such a gateway issue into assault. Oh, look, it's almost like mommy was relevant to Ruka. It's almost like mommy was relevant to Ruka, because what was going on with Ruka? Kazi keeps saying no, he's not fucking stopping her. Kazi keeps saying no, but his body's saying yes. You know, that fucked up shit. My body's saying no, or what is it? Like, my mind's saying no, my body's saying yes. That bullshit. Mommy literally says no, and then she fucking hands it to him. Her body says yes. Oh, look, it's almost like that shit's mixed signals. But mommy, you know, wants to keep up the act, put up the mask, be a little comfortable. You know, she's leaning super hard into the tsundere. Oh, look, even mommy's shoes are alluding to Ruka, because they have fucking ribbons. Even her shoes allude to Ruka, because there are ribbons. This chapter is full of a perfect ribbon. You're putting an idealized perfect ribbon. You're tying a perfect bow tie, and you're presenting it in the perfect fucking way, and it's making you happy. And it's literally presented as the perfect chapter, intentionally. And then you get to the end, and you're like, "Hey yo, you forget this fucking ribbon? Hey yo, remember these ribbons, brother?" Okay. There's also another OG Rent-A-Girlfriend YouTuber who's coming back. You guys should collab and make a Rent-A-Girlfriend podcast. Which YouTuber is this? Which YouTuber is this? Kazi and Chizuru is going to fix all the girls. I'll predict that. I think it's rather than fix all the people, they're gonna show them how to change. Apple Bob. I'm sorry, I'm not interested in collabing with Apple Bob. I'm not interested. Yeah, sorry, not interested. I do know him. We even talked very briefly, but I'm not very interested. Sorry. Let's see. I don't think Kazuya and Chizuru are gonna fix the characters. They're gonna show them how to change. I think Chizuru's actions with Kazuya will make them realize what they're doing wrong. They're not gonna fix them. Nobody can fix you but you. And the problem is that when you try to fix someone, a couple things can happen. One, sometimes you're trying to fix something that's not a problem. Sometimes it's not about fixing a problem. It's about what is it? It's about like recognizing like what you are doing wrong. Sometimes when you try to fix someone, you might succeed. And this is where the problem arises. Cool, you fix them, they're not interested anymore. That's kind of the flaw of like sometimes that'll work. Yeah, sometimes it'll work. But like when you walk into a relationship with the goal of fixing someone, it doesn't always end well. You know, like it's not about just fixing people. I mean, you guys have different views, and it'd be cool to hear you argument with each other. I don't know. I just don't know if I want to engage with Apple Bob. He kind of just also disappeared. He just kind of went off the grid and disappeared, and our interactions in the past weren't very good. I don't know. I don't even know if he's coming back to talk about Rent-A-Girlfriend. He might even be back for it. You know? I'm very weary when engaging with other YouTubers. It's just something I'm not. Yes, it can help you grow. Yes, it might be a good idea. I don't know. I just don't feel very interested in engaging with him. I always never liked when we talked in the past. We've talked in the past. I didn't really like it very much. Something just always felt a little weird and uncomfortable. And I don't think I need to make myself uncomfortable to discuss something I enjoy. I'm not going to make myself uncomfortable just to grow. I don't really care about that. I don't know how to feel at the moment. I'm just going to be honest. This is based on like a few years ago. It's been years since I've talked to this person. I don't know what kind of person they are now. They could be a completely different person. I think it's not fair to judge them on the past. They didn't particularly do anything mean to me outright. It was just a little weird. But I don't know. Like, I'm just not interested in, I don't know. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just not interested. It's not just that he's face value. It's just, I don't know. I think I just don't like engaging with anime YouTubers in general and how people talk about things in general. It feels really flat. I don't know. It's just me. 1-2 Ruka coming for you. 3-4 better lock your door. 4-5 grab your crucifix. 7-8 gotta stay up late. 9-10 never sleep again. I like to see kind of both sides. Of course, I see other sides. Don't get me wrong. Like, I regularly see how people talk about this series, and it helps inform how I approach it. So, for instance, I see how Giga talks about this series, and like, funny enough, it actually acted as like it was very useful when I was writing something, you know, because it's just like, oh, it's funny how like his frustration and the things he doesn't like and the way he makes fun of it is like incredibly tone deaf, and he doesn't realize what he's saying. So it's not that I don't engage with those sides. It's just that most of the stuff that Apple Bob says is like things I've gone way past. It's just things I'm not like particularly that interested in anymore. I can get most of what he's saying through Reddit, you know, which is unfortunately a lot of anime tubers. Which is unfortunately a lot of anime tubers. A lot of them, like, bro, a lot of times you listen to any anime tuber, anime manga YouTubers, just go to Reddit, same exact thing, verbatim. It's the same fucking thing. It's kind of hilarious, honestly. But yeah, good for him if he's back. If his audience is still here, good for him. I don't even know if he's still talking about the series. Did he like switch to something else? So let's see. We were talking about shoot, what was I talking about? Anyone willing to bet on Kazuya not letting Ruka in? So I was talking to someone, it was Jojo Maniacal. We were talking, and he said that I could see. So we were talking about it for a little bit, and then I came up with a theory that I'm just like, oh, what if he doesn't let her in, but she barges in and sees what he's been hiding? And that would be kind of like a bigger get wrecked moment than anything, because Ruka seeing Kazuya's thing that he put up for Chizuru, Ruka seeing how, because remember, when Ruka last visited before she sexually assaulted him, she literally saw, what is it? She literally saw like him working really hard, and she asks him, why are you working so hard? Plot twist, it was for Chizuru, and she doesn't know. She asks him, am I the first girl here? She wasn't. It was Minnie. So what's interesting is that I could see Ruka seeing this stuff, thinking Chizuru's been here already, thinking he's already done things with Chizuru, because she always assumes that. She always jumps to this conclusion that they've already like done things. And I think that could trigger Ruka to like, you know, kind of go down a darker path, maybe get upset or something. Who knows? So that's kind of my bet, is like, I think Ruka might barge in and like see the list Kazuya made. The list that like, that's the first thing Kazuya hid when Ruka showed up at his place. Right? The first thing that Kazuya hid when Ruka showed up at his place in chapter 402 is the list. The first thing that he hid. Right? So the main thing Kazuya is hiding from Ruka might find out. The second thing that Kazuya hides from Ruka is Minnie. That Minnie was here before her. Kazuya also hid the keychain. Wait, was that keychain fucking Chizuru's? So it could be one of those things where Ruka slowly starts realizing, oh, holy shit, I never mattered to him. Right? So very like defeated, very, very like, fuck, this sucks. You get excited because you're like, oh, she's giving up. This is great. You know, she gives up indirectly. This is great, right? It's what Kazuya wants. Next chapter might almost reward you. But then as it's rewarding you, you might like start like looking at things differently because you're like, wait, I kind of feel like an asshole. And I think it might result in bad things. So I think next chapter might seem like another reward. Oh, look, things are going great. He got Ruka off his back. Hell yeah, brother. He got Ruka off his back. Hell yeah, brother. And then it might actually be a very bad thing. So I could definitely see that being like a possible direction we could go. It presents you a positive direction that looks like it's going to be good. You finally got rid of Ruka. But then you broke her heart. But then the issue is still unaddressed. Do you see how there's like all these issues where it's like Ruka sexually assaulted him, but then he hurt Ruka, but then he led her on. It's a layered problem that I think Reiji's setting up for. Let's see. Why would Kazuya hide his driving license? What would that do? He got a driving license. I don't think he's going to let her in. I don't think he's going to let her in. I think she's going to barge in. Which is very fitting. Thematically fitting, I would align. It's very thematically fitting that Ruka barges into his house. Because she's literally been ignoring his fucking desires. She's ignoring what he wants, so she's going to barge into his fucking house. But what does it matter if he got his license? What's that do? Cool, he has his license. Right? I don't think the license is the issue. He's not hiding his license. I don't think he is. He's not hiding his license. It's not the license that's the issue. It's not the license that's the issue. I don't think so. I think it's less about the license and more about his goal list. Like whatever Reiji shows us in the very beginning moment here. He has a love confession on his phone. You intentionally see the goal list. That seems more like the actual issue. The love confession on his phone and the goal list. That seems more like the immediate issue. I don't see how the license would be a big deal. Like, he could just explain it as, oh, but my dad needs me to get my license. Him being naked is more of a big deal, I would argue. Right? Him being naked is more of a big deal. I think the whole point is that the confession that Kazi is trying to do through all this driving stuff is disguising the real issue, which is Ruka. I think it's a misdirect. I don't think it's about the license. That would be BS if Ruka actually barged in from her small body, then suddenly Ruka has super strength to barge in. You do realize it doesn't require a whole lot of energy to barge in, nor does Kazuya physically resist her. It's very easy to barge into someone's house, dude. Especially if that person does not physically resist, which Kazuya does not. The argument you're making is literally the same exact argument to when he was sexually assaulted. How could Kazuya, who's so much physically stronger than her, be physically assaulted by such a little girl? It's almost like that little girl has so much more influence and power of the situation than you might possibly realize. It's almost like she barged into Chizuru's house. Chizuru is bigger than Ruka. She barged into her house. I could see Ruka barging in. Something like that will probably be, but also, I mean, it's not that the driving license is so much main character energy, but like just because he's misholding information like Ruka isn't deserving of those. Oh, okay. In that sense, I can kind of agree with you. Okay. I can kind of somewhat agree with you. Yes, he's hiding information from her. Okay. Yeah, if you framed it like that, I would have agreed with you. Yeah, if you framed it like that, I would agree to you. Yeah, he's hiding things from her. Yeah. I think Ruka realizing he's hiding things from her is a big deal. Which is I think what might end up happening here, that Kazuya is hiding a lot of things from her. So Ruka will get curious, what else is he hiding from me? You know? I think that this could be like a trigger for Ruka to get curious, what else is he hiding from me? It'd be interesting if Ruka found out about Chizuru and Umi through Umi himself after he meets her to ask about her relationship with Kazuya. But how would Umi even meet her? How would Umi even meet her? It would have to be Ruka reaching out to Umi. It doesn't make sense for Umi to meet her. She would have to meet him. And that would be weird. You know? At the same time, Ruka is also misunderstanding Umi, I think. A big aspect of this is I think Ruka is very much misunderstanding Umi. Exactly, I just can't word it right. That's why you gotta practice. Right? Practice wording your intent so that way like when you talk to people it's easier. Because it's very easy to miscommunicate. You know, it's in life, it's incredibly easy to miscommunicate. People think like that's why I like about how Reiji uses the miscommunication trope. It's realistic because people miscommunicate all the fucking time and they don't realize they're miscommunicating. Like that's literally what he said in one of his streams or one of his Twitter spaces where I was like, we were kind of misunderstanding something about Minnie. And he's like, oh no, everybody miscommunicates like all the fucking time. I'm like, Soka. Oh, okay. So we got to look up mute. See what mute wrote. I can imagine Ruka pretending to leave when Kazuya doesn't answer the door. When Kazuya opens the door to see if she's gone, she was hiding and rushes through the door. That'd be kind of funny. That'd be kind of funny, actually. I don't know if she would do that, but that sounds kind of funny. Okay, so let's see what mute wrote. I like retweeted this and I didn't even fucking read it. This is my analysis and impression of Oh, wait. Back to normal. We're gonna just do auto translate. Translate to English. This is a review of Satisfaction 334, blah, 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 blah. The theme this time is being your true self. How will Kazuya react when Mami and Ruka interact with him with their true selves? Okay. The temporary driver's license says, Heisei 2X, the serialization of Kanojo Okarishimasu began in 2017, which was Heisei 29. 2 years have passed in the story, so it would be Heisei 31. But the era name changed to Reiwa in April 30th. Heisei 31, so as June, so it should be Reiwa 1. In other words, Kanojo Okarishimasu is set in a parallel world where the Imperial era doesn't change and the current year is unknown. Currently, temporary driver's licenses are plastic cards, but in Kanojo Okarishimasu, they're folded paper cards, which seems to be a nod to the older era. Okay, that's kind of cool. We're learning something new already. Okay, so it's literally not aligned with the modern era. Something's off. Interesting. It's fine as a cover illustration, but in the Toyota Hiace, it's not suitable for beginner drivers because it's a cab over vehicle. It's difficult to get a feel for driving it, and there's a high chance of scraping the rear when turning left. Also, since it's a commercial vehicle designed for carrying cargo, the suspension is stiff and the ride is uncomfortable. Huh. Yo, we're learning so much today. It's almost like what Kazuya thinks is an easy ride is not an easy fucking ride, which was kind of my read. I think the like what I read it as is that it's this chapter is literally presenting it as it's all really fucking easy. It's not, right? And when you have like awareness of what's being depicted to you, you start realizing, oh, this is not fucking easy. And Wildt said a lot of other things, by the way. He was talking about like the route Kazuya was taking, and Kazuya made a crucial fucking mistake. We'll show you like really quick. So when Kazuya talks about the route that they're gonna take, he says it takes about an hour and a half to drive to Mother Farm from the center of the city, one of Kanto's biggest and most renowned all-one entertainment centers. What's interesting about this is that Wildt literally mentions Kazuya is not accounting for traffic. He's not accounting for pauses in the road where you have to go through checkpoints and stuff like that. There's a lot he's not accounting for. And what's really interesting is that in the date, when Kazuya goes on the date, Kazuya planned everything out with Minnie, except he made a crucial fucking mistake that I just showed you in this when I was talking about the carnations. So when Kazuya and Chizuru finally get into Joypolis, what happens? There's a big fucking crowd that he did not account for because it was raining. What are the odds? So just like he doesn't account for the crowd and the rain, he doesn't account for the road and the traffic and all the things that might be going on in the traffic. So it might not be 90 minutes. It might be a lot more than 90 minutes, right? And he doesn't account for the fact that, okay, you're in the car. What are you going to talk about? You can barely fucking speak to her. What the fuck are you going to talk about in the car? You can barely talk to her. What are you going to do in 90 minutes? I've done my research since then. A lot of it. Clearly not enough. How fitting. He talks about research. But what was the investigation called? Is the research. Chizuru was doing research. You see Kazuya researching the wrong things. He researches the wrong things when he goes to Joypolis. He researches the wrong things when he goes here. He researches the wrong things when he's with Sumi. He literally started researching the wrong stuff when they're supposed to be researching their feelings and emotions. We can also eat there, plus an hour and a half is the perfect length for a drive. Oh, look, he's in shadows, almost like it's not going to be an hour and a half. It's probably going to be a lot longer. Chizuru, he imagines Chizuru, their recent heart-shaped sheep event has been well received and is super popular day spot for couples. I bet Mizuhara would look so cute playing with the sheep. Almost like he wants to see cute Chizuru with the sheep to disguise his own internal ugliness. He needs this beautiful place so that he wouldn't appear ugly. Mother Farm itself is a perfect vessel for his own ugliness. A farm is a nice, easy place to ask her to go. Compared to the city dates she's had as a rental girlfriend, this is a completely new experience. How do you know? Is it really a nice, easy place to ask her to go? What if she can't leave the city? Is this really a nice, easy place to ask her to go? Maybe it's not. It's out of the city. You're asking someone to go outside of the city with you. Is that really a nice, easy place to go? Compared to the city days she's had as a rental girlfriend, this is a completely new experience. What did Chizuru say when she went on the city date with Kazuya? I'll pull it up for you since some of you probably don't remember. When they're walking and they get to their final destination, listen to what Chizuru says. This might be the first time seeing it up close. But she's been here 7 times, even though I've been to Odaiba many times. Huh. I might have just fooled myself into thinking I've seen all of this before. Maybe she wasn't actually seeing it. So, is the farm really a new experience? Or is he supposed to be the experience? It's almost like Kazuya is trying to give her a new experience and taking her to a place, not realizing he's supposed to be the experience. The whole point of being with someone is you're the experience. But that's not all. Look at how he's completely shadowed. From what I've read, when it hits July in Mother Farm, petunias are in full bloom on the hillside. This settles it. This is my date plan. He's not lying there. It's true. Eyes wide open. Eyes closed, but her eyes are open and she's shadowed. Let's continue reading what Mute wrote. Also, the bridges on the bridges like the Aqua Line, you can sometimes get a scary feeling due to strong crosswinds. Oh my god. Kazuya's not accounting for how hard this drive might actually be. Because he's going to be on a bridge he's never been on before, and there might be heavy wind. Because of the crosswind. That's going to make, like, that's going to feel like your car's drifting. That's going to feel scary as shit. The 1.5-hour drive from central Tokyo to Mother Farm assumes no traffic and uses expressways. For beginners, the Metropolitan Expressway is difficult to navigate due to the confusing junctions. A preliminary drive route is necessary. The farm address is clearly written, and although it's unclear whether it's a tie-up project, collaboration, or interview cooperation, the descriptive content is likely related to one of these. When Kazuya asks Mami to show him her learner's permit, Mami initially refuses, but then changes her mind and shows it to Kazuya. Refusing at first is typical of Mami. She puts up a wall around Kazuya, telling him, "Unlike you, I'm not someone who sells myself short." However, when she showed it to Kazuya, he backed down so easily that she wondered if his interest in her was waning. Really? Is that how he read it? Interesting. He backed up so quickly. She did that on purpose. She did that on purpose because she wanted to see how interested he is. And then the moment he wasn't interested enough, the moment he backed away, she pulled him in. It's a push and pull. It's a push and pull dynamic. Fuck me. That's so unhealthy. It's literally a push and pull dynamic, right? So when he pushes and she says no, he backs up and she pulls him back in. She shows it to him when he says no. Or sorry, when he backs away after she says no. He listened to you, and she's like, no doesn't mean no. It's the stupid girl thing where everyone is like, all girls act like this. This is not true. All girls do not act like this. This is not true, and it's also dumb. Don't do this in relationships. Just pro tip. Don't do this in relationships. If you say no, you mean no. If you say yes, you mean yes. Okay? Don't make people guess. Do not make people guess. Mami is playing a fucking guessing game. How was he supposed, like, he's confused. Really? She was just joking then? Or was she serious? He doesn't know. Right? You as a reader have like an external perspective, so you're like, of course it's supposed to be yes, but no. How the fuck's he supposed to know? Don't do this push and pull bullshit. And Mami literally does this with him constantly. She constantly does this push and pull bullshit. Where she's constantly giving him signals that she's interested and then constantly giving him signals to forget it and don't worry about it. And that she's not interested. And then when he stares too much, oh, stop staring. She just fucking stands there, doesn't say anything. My eyes make me look like I'm some kind of thug. She doesn't even laugh. Doesn't say anything. Right? He complimented her. She can't even fucking say anything. Kazu-kun, you're like a red bean belt. What the fuck does that mean? Oh, look. It's almost like the thing that we started the story with Mami. A lack of clarity. What the fuck is going on? Right? You understand because you're like, okay, she clearly fucking likes him. You understand because you're like, oh, she clearly likes him. What Reiji is illustrating here is that this is disguising the real problem. Her tsundere behavior is disguising the real problem. That mommy's behavior is a fucking problem. Literally what she's doing is the issue. And isn't it fitting that she wears flowers that kind of look like petunias, but it's unclear. Because what did Reiji do here? This is just literally, right? Okay. You know what? Fuck you, Wiz. Fuck you, Wiz. You're getting temporarily muted for that. You pissed me off. Put user on timeout 30 minutes. Just for that. You pissed me the fuck off. Fuck you, man. Fuck off. Fucking rage bait bullshit in my goddamn chat. Get the hell out. Rage bait bullshit in my fucking chat? Anyways, what was I explaining before about the petunias? The petunias look like other flowers. Doesn't it look like mommy literally has the petunias on her? Except, what's interesting about these flowers that I told you about in the last stream we were talking about this? These flowers are not petunias. In fact, these flowers are literally a Clip Studio asset. This is literally, these look like petunias. This looks like it's about mommy. And yet, these flowers could literally just look like what? Morning glories, which represents ephemeral love. Oh, look, it looks like mommy has the flowers. She fucking doesn't. It's a misdirect. He's baiting you. He got you hook, line, and sinker. Okay. When she showed it to Kazuya, he backed down so easily that she wondered if he was interested in her and was waning. She felt a sense of urgency, thinking she should resist, and went to create more contact with him. Her subsequent acts of snatching the driver's license back from Kazuya, telling him he was staring too much, could be seen as a calculated display of tsundere behavior. Yeah. No, it is. I do think it's somewhat calculated. It's her own safety. It's literally for her own safety. It's calculated for sure. It's literally mommy just doing this for herself. Kazuya is simply confused, but it seems like that mommy still has feelings of wanting Kazuya whenever she feels like she might lose him. Like a sweet... He read it better than me. He read this scene better than me. Oh my god, he read this scene better than me. I'm so dumb. He read it better than me. Oh, he's right. Oh, he's right. Kazuya interacts with her. She pulls away. She does it on purpose. She says no on purpose. Oh, so dumb. It is a cow. He's right. Okay, we're gonna reread this scene. I think this is a better read of the scene. Oh, this makes so much fucking sense. He asks her, "Can I see it?" She says no. When he says no, he pulls away. When he pulls away, what is she doing? She's seeing, okay, he pulled away from me. Do I want him back? She goes and gives him the thing because she wants him back. He stares too much, so she takes it away. He compliments her. She doesn't say anything. She just stands there. And oh, look, her brother was right. Oh, look, it seems like her brother was right. She just wants him back. He's literally just a red bean bun. It's confirmation bias. She literally was testing herself. It's confirmation bias. Oh, I reacted this way. Therefore, I just want him back because I lost him. Because I reacted this way. Except that's confirmation bias. That doesn't mean you're not in love with him, you stupid fucking idiot. So she walks away. Because literally, she's like, oh, my brother is correct. She was testing if her brother was right. How did I not clock this? That's a good read from you. He fucking clocked it. Respect to Mute. He clocked it, bro. The reason Kazuya was rejected on their Odaiba date was because he couldn't explain why he liked her. So the words he chose to use don't really matter. That's not the reasoning, though. Damn, immediately proceed to disagree with him. I'm like, damn, he read it better than I did. Oh, dude is so good. And then immediately proceeds to say something that's like straight up incorrect. Because even Minnie doesn't even know that's the reasoning why he was rejected. That's not the reason he was rejected. Oh, that's hilarious. Even if Kazuya tells Chizuru, my feelings for Mizuhara will never change, Chizuru believes that people's feelings can change. So it would be the same situation as when Chizuru asked Kazuya, why can't you say that it won't change? And he can't explain it. Okay. Interesting. He did a good mommy analysis, and then he just kind of blitzed through the rest. It's kind of disappointing. I had hoped he would talk more. Ruka showed up unannounced, and she has a stern expression on her face, as if she's mad, as if she's made some kind of decision. The ending leaves us wondering what her purpose for coming to the house is. Next episode title is The Entrance. Perhaps as Yamori-san instructed, they will not let Ruka inside the house and will greet her at the entrance. In that case, the conversation will be overheard by those around them. Certainly, if Ruka would be let back into the house, the readers would be astonished. I suppose I would answer the door, but Ruka's voice would get louder, and it might lead to the situation where we suggest going to a family restaurant, like just somewhere. Hmm. The episode ended on a cliffhanger, leaving us wondering what Ruka's purpose was. Next time, Kazuya might not let Ruka inside and will deal with her. Chizuru hasn't appeared since the conversation with Yamori, so I'm wondering if she'll show up soon. Looks like the next chapter will take up a lot of time pages dealing with Ruka. I don't think Chizuru will be the main character, but she might make an appearance in the segment like, what did Chizuru do at that time? Yeah, I kind of hope Chizuru shows up. It's been a hot minute since we've seen her. So kind of hope Chizuru shows up. You know, like right as the ghosting might start, Chizuru shows up. Kind of fitting. I have a theory that Mommy would become a rental girlfriend at the end of the story, so she is a god tier actress. No. Okay, so do you know why Mommy looked like such a good actress in Hawaiians? Do you know why? There's two reasons. One, most women have to act simply because they need to protect themselves. Mommy knows how to act because a lot of men regularly hit on her. She's in a family of abusers. So she's just kind of doing what most women need to do, which is lie to protect themselves. Two, Mommy believes her own lies. So her acting is more believable. She's not actually a good actress. That's the thing. She's not actually a good actress. She's kind of like a decent actress, right? Mommy is meant to be like a subversion of the actress thing because you're like, oh, wow, she's such a good actress. She could fucking cry on command. Holy shit, that's impressive. In reality, Mommy is not actually a good actress. She's just good at lying to herself. Maybe method acting, but method acting is not. It's not very good. Method acting is actually quite dangerous. Mommy believes her own lies. That's why she cries. She's just and the thing is the reason the family believes her is because they already believe these things internally. Literally what Mommy did was crocodile tears. Right? They believed the person who was crying and they didn't believe the person who's smiling. Because how could someone smile while the other cries? And in turn, they don't see Chizuru's real tears. Literally, it's just crocodile tears. Like, crying is not as difficult as you might think. It is a little hard, but it's not as difficult as you might think. And I don't think Mommy is as good of an actress as you think she is. She's not. I also don't think Mommy should become an actress. I think mommy should kind of figure out what she wants to do and not just become an actress. I don't think acting really. I don't know. Maybe mommy could do acting. She could do Rental Girlfriend. That would be interesting. Uh, like ironically, I do think mommy could be a good Rental Girlfriend. Funny considering she looks down on Rental Girlfriends. But yeah, nothing else here. So let's see. Let me drink some tea. My ear's kind of hurting a little bit. I've been having some issues sleeping lately, so I'm like more tired than usual. I have to like massage my outer ear, like right here. I don't know why. It's like hurting. I think it tends to happen when I don't sleep well. And that's something I've been trying to fix, but it definitely ain't on it easy. Oh yeah, I saw fucking. Wait, what the hell? Oh yeah, it's because of Kana. If you're wondering why the knees are like pink all the time, it's because of Kana. The way Kana does like coloring, like she always adds like pink to like certain aspects of the skin tone. And it's not that your knees don't look a little pinkish, but like Kana just goes really overboard with how she shows certain characters. That's just an aspect I personally don't like very much about Kana. Um, like the way she draws certain things, I just don't click with. Like, I don't know. That's just me. I think Kana is an amazing artist, but at times I think she's very limited to like a very cutesy art style. Kana's like very, very limited to a cutesy art style. Johan, mommy is a good actress because she pushed Chelsea and Chizuru into a corner. How is that? How are those two things synonymous? You can push someone into a corner by utilizing information effectively. That does not mean you're a good actor. That's mommy is a bastardization of acting. Mommy is not an actress. If anything, what mommy does is like an insult to actors. Because literally, she just pretends and uses information and believes her own lies. That's why she fucking cries. Mommy is not a good actress. She's just really good at using info. That doesn't mean you're a good actor. Those two things are not synonymous. You can put two people in a corner and not be a good actor. I don't see how those two things align. I could use horrible information to make someone feel terrible and be stuck in a corner. Like, I'm not gonna say mommy doesn't have like acting skills. I said she kind of does. I'm not saying mommy doesn't have acting skills. I'm just saying she's not a good actress in that she's not a trained actress. Like she can only do certain things. Like to say mommy is a good actress is bullshit because I think she's a little bit more talented. It's kind of like how Sayuri described Chizuru initially, but Chizuru actually fucking trained and worked for it. So like here, let me see how Sayuri described it. Mommy puts up an armor, she pretends. So she's where is it? Let me find it here. Sayuri like says it here. I personally think like what makes actors and even voice actors so fucking effective is that when they can utilize their emotions effectively. That's what makes mommy look so good initially is that she's literally utilizing her emotions very effectively. In that sense, she is a good actress. However, she can't like use her emotions effectively all the time. She lets her emotions control her. That's why I'm saying mommy isn't a good actress. She has talent. She maybe has the talent to be an actress, but she doesn't have the skill. Does that make sense? She maybe has the talent for it. She doesn't have the skill for it. Chizuru has the actual skill because Chizuru can use her emotions and also put them to the side. A good actor can control their emotions and like use them to both express themselves and like put themselves aside and know how to put their emotions into their acting. You know, it's knowing how to put your emotions to the side. I don't think Mommy really does that. Mommy doesn't really put her emotions to the side. Mommy regularly like fuels her emotions and let them take over her, which seems like how acting is, but it's not. That's actually like very novice acting. Like that's very, very early acting, you know? But yeah, let me see how Sayuri describes Chizuru. Sayuri literally says she hides her weakness by wearing her strong persona like a suit of armor. In a sense, she's truly an accomplished actress. In a sense. Right? And then we can read the official translations, which I think are a little more accurate, ironically enough. She works so hard to cover her faults with that suit of armor she calls her strong self. In a way, she's kind of a genius in acting. Mommy isn't an Iron Lady like Chizuru. Yeah, actually she is. Yeah, actually she is. If anything, I would argue Mommy is the real Iron Lady. Because Mommy literally constantly puts on the persona of the yandere. Mommy constantly gives you the indication of the yandere. She literally is the Iron Lady. She's fucking soulless. Literally, like Sayuri described, it's kind of like she's a genius in acting. That's kind of Mommy too. Mommy is an Iron Lady. She constantly protects herself with the armor that she puts out. She constantly makes herself look a certain way. Don't be harsh on Mommy. She's a sweetheart. Is that sarcasm? I better fucking hope it's sarcasm. That better be fucking sarcasm. Because while I love Mommy, I'm gonna be fucking harsh on her. Mommy's like my third favorite character, and I will still absolutely be fucking harsh on her. 423. 131 comments? Jesus fucking Christ. 131 comments. Jesus fucking Christ. I feel like Jaws here. I feel like Jaws would like actually side with me though. I'm pretty sure Jaws would actually fucking side with me though. Like, I'm gonna be real. Because there are parallels between Chizuru and Mommy, you know? They're technically both geniuses in acting, but whereas Mommy never put in an effort for anything, Chizuru actually did, and she literally mastered her acting. She improved her acting. Mommy just kind of utilized it to hurt other people. She didn't actually like cultivate her talent. She just kind of used it for stupid reasons. So yes, there is a parallel. Mommy technically has some talent for acting. I don't disagree with that. She's not an actress. There's a difference. You can be talented in acting and waste your fucking talent. A talented person can waste their talent if they don't fucking work on it. Like Mommy is like the epitome of potential. You know that fucking meme people make about what's that meme? You know that fucking meme people make about jujitsu where they call what's his name? Potential Man. What's his fucking name? the dude from what's his name? Mommy's good at exposing frauds, but she's not a good actress. You mean Mommy's the fucking fraud? Mommy's good at exposing frauds. She's the fucking fraud, dude. Bruh. She literally fucking lied to you about fraud. She literally like fucking robbed you blind and told you someone else was. It's like when a rich person like tells you, "Hey, no, it's the poor people stealing money from you, not me who doesn't have to pay taxes." That's what Mommy is, which is really funny because she's rich and Chizuru isn't. That's the funny part. She's rich and Chizuru isn't. Like, it's dude. The fucking script writes itself. The fucking script writes itself. If you think this is Ruka's last stand, I'm sorry. Oh my god, I read Last Stand and I just thought of Tekken 8. My last stand. I just start fucking what is it? Like just doing fucking wave dashes. Just do the fucking Korean dash. Just imagine like Jin wave dashing to the fucking Last Stand. I think I posted something like this. Yeah, let me look it up. I think I posted something like this. Fucking hell. Fucking Jesus Christ. No, Jin is so fucking funny because when you like use his fucking heat move and you start wave dashing, his eyes glow red. So just like look at this. Fucking Jesus Christ. It's so goofy. That's a title page right there. I feel like I hit a dog with Kazuya having the pickup where we left off fantasy. Interesting that Chizuru is dressed differently in the fantasy versus the fantasies in the rest of the chapter. It's similar to her outfit from the date, some lace cuffs but no collar. It's actually inconsistent. So Chizuru's outfits in all of the visions Kazuya has are completely inconsistent, which aligns perfectly with the idea of the chapter. There is no sense of consistency. Look at Chizuru here. She has ribbons. That's not a Chizuru thing. She has a star on her. She has a heart on her. She's wearing a swimsuit. She's hiding her hands behind her back. You don't really know like what Chizuru's deal is. Like you don't know what the hell you're looking at. There's a lot of like really weird things here. This aligns perfectly with Chizuru in Kazuya's visions, and it aligns perfectly with the petunias, possibly having different meanings because they look like different flowers. So here, you have Chizuru in this one where, oh, look, Chizuru looks completely different here. Then he has a different one where Chizuru here looks like her usual rental self. Then again, it's the usual rental self. Then, where is the next one? There's this one, and this one also is again the rental self, but she doesn't have the braid. So you're like, what the fuck? What's going on? It's inconsistent. Okay, you're just getting banned. Get out of here. Wasting my fucking time. Fucking weirdos who just don't like sex workers. Fucking idiots. Just straight up, if anyone here shows up and they use the sex worker rhetoric on Chizuru, you're getting banned immediately. I've had enough. You use the sex worker rhetoric on Chizuru and you're getting banned immediately. No fucking hesitation. I'm not even putting you on timeout. You're just banned. No. I'm done with these games. If you want to act like a piece of shit to sex workers, if you want to act like a piece of shit to Chizuru just because she works a job you don't like, get the fuck out of my chat. Don't ever fucking come back. I don't need your bullshit here. Goodbye. This is not a democracy. Unreal. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, Chizuru is dressed differently in the fantasies. Some lace cuffs, but no collar. Well, most of it is just her dressed in the rental outfit. Compare this to his later fantasy where he pictures her in the slap of taste out of his mouth outfit from their second rental date. He's picturing the moment when he finally says the right thing to get his W with her, wearing the outfit that traumatized him. Like a subconscious is telling him it's bullshit choosing the artifact. Wait, I'm confused. How did the outfit traumatize him? Chizuru's outfit didn't traumatize him. Why did the outfit traumatize him? Oh no, he's just a Delulu idiot. This dude's just a dum dum. Like his name is Sotaro Gojo is my god. He's a fucking Jujutsu Kaisen fan. Those people, like, half of these people, like, turn off their, like, you know the sad part about, like, stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen and Dandadan? They're actually really good fucking stories. They just have the worst fucking audience. Like, they're actually genuinely good fucking stories. Dandadan is really good. It just has a terrible fucking audience. Jujutsu Kaisen is actually kind of amazing. Again, just a terrible fucking audience, like idiots. And then you have this guy who doesn't even know how to, like, look at someone working a job he doesn't understand and must hate them to justify his own beliefs that he is a good person. That's what this is. This is just a dude trying to justify to himself that his beliefs that he's a good person and that Chizuru's just stealing money because he's not actually here to talk about the characters. He's just here to prove himself right. He's here to have me tell him, yes, you're doing good. Yes, you're right. That's what he wants. That's it. He doesn't care about anything else. These people are not here to actually have a conversation. They're here to be right. And I think that's a lot of anime and manga readers. I think that's a lot of people in general these days. A lot of people in general these days, they don't form real connections to characters, to people, to anything. They just go to get their own confirmation bias, which is ironic because this is what the series is criticizing and talking about. It's incredibly ironic that this is what these people do when this is exactly what the series is criticizing and talking about. That people are not forming real connections and like actually learning and interacting with people. They're just going to, you know, have someone tell them what they want to hear. This is why people like them listen to AI. Side note, has Umi's style pose in the flowers? Okay, we talked about this already. I may be a bit in the weeds here, but the difference in her clothes reads to me that when Kazuya isn't denying his desires, he actually sees Chizuru herself instead of his should fantasy, where he sees a caricature of her. The dialogue ain't it, but it feels like he's the picking up where they left off fantasy is more realistic, but that might just be me. Chizuru's outfit in the makeout fantasy in this chapter is a bit sexier than what she wore in the date, but it's something she would wear. Is it? You don't know. We've seen that she will wear something a bit sexier to appeal to him, like the outfit he bought her on the cheer up date, which curiously Mommy is more or less wearing in this chapter. It's not the same, but it is absolutely similar, intentionally so. Mommy literally looks like Chizuru. She's not Chizuru. She's literally the petunias. The petunias look like another flower. It's not the flower you actually want. Mommy had her shower thoughts, which felt like her accepting her feelings. Then immediately afterwards, the next time we see her, she's wearing an outfit that 100% now appeals to him. It's a coincidence, but a meaningful one in my opinion. Mommy looks amazing. The badump, the cute, embarrassed look away. It's adorable. Kazuya incorrectly reads the situation with Mommy being awkward around him as her not liking him. But she's not being clear either, so how could he possibly know? Consciously or unconsciously lying to himself again, extremely funny considering how often we've seen him as the flustered one trying to keep it together around the person he's attracted to. It's funny to see him both being a bit awkward, but unfortunately we'll have to wait longer for the Mommy Kazi conversation I've been begging for. That's... You're getting baited hook, line, and sinker. I don't think we're going to really get that. I was really hoping we were going to see the next step in healing these wounds. Oh yeah, this person's like set that like Kazuya and Mommy are going to heal each other's wounds when she's this fucking abuser. She's this goddamn abuser, dude. Like, your abuser isn't going to heal your fucking wounds. Nor is the victim going to help the abuser. You know? Like that, they have to be like They gotta like address their problems and why their relationship just does not work. They're not gonna heal each other. If you think mommy's gonna heal him, man, oh man, do I got news for you. Looks like we're going to see a couple more rounds of Kazuya inadvertently hurting everyone, especially himself, because he hates himself too much to see clearly and advocate for what he wants. He chooses his shell. He's gonna keep circling the drain, blah, 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 blah. Okay. It would be really funny and if the actress picks up what's going on. Specifically that Kazuya clearly is trying to keep Ruka away, and this is not right. She could probably end things with a remark. I don't know what that means. A JoJo maniacal. So we had some interesting talks. Damn, bro, you got woo. Okay. Let's see what he said. We talked a little bit. We disagreed on a few things. There's some things I agreed on and some things I disagreed with, but there were some things like I pointed out to him and he pointed out to me. So let's read it. The Demon Lord sits patiently in the lair, ready to reveal their master plan. The chapter is fucking crazy. I'm totally serious when I say that. Plot-wise, you may think very little of it, but what it reveals in terms of the characters, where the story is at, and where it might be heading is pretty insane. It's a chapter about deception and denial of inner desires. Let's dive in. Pretty much what I said. The cover photo is pretty much the summation of the entire chapter in a visual form. Of note, pay attention to the placement of the tattoos, the usage of the ribbons which Chizuru is wearing, the caption of the page, and the type of car that Chizuru is standing in front of. Tattoos in Japan carry a very loaded social stigma. The stigma is not as strong as the younger generation as it is the old, but it's still heavily implied to be an association with criminal elements of the Japanese society. But those aren't tattoos, they're stickers. But okay, let's keep reading. So it's giving a sort of implication of Chizuru being involved with something criminal or at the very least shady. However, the actual contents of the tattoos are somewhat light and inoffensive. A star and a heart could hardly be considered intimidating as a full back tattoo around the proper members of the Yakuza. Okay. Also, considering the placements of the star on top near the shoulder, where the double heart is placed suggestively on the pelvis, it's like the dual nature of all the characters who have lofty goals and dreams placed high, but they also contain sexual desires that are actually closer to their hearts. I like your second read. I'm not a big fan of your initial read. I think the only thing I could agree with on your initial read is that it does give off an inclination of what is it? Of like a sense of debauchery, like an uncleanliness, unorganizedness to it. That I can agree with. The idea of it being criminal, I think you kind of like dug a little too deep. You had a good idea. I think you just dug a little too deep because these aren't tattoos. They're probably because I've seen stuff like this with girls. It's not a tattoo. It's like one of those stickers. A lot of girls like put like stickers and stuff on them. On themselves. It looks more like a sticker rather than a tattoo or like a fake tattoo. It comes off as a little more girly, but unorganized and unclean. And I think that's maybe more of the inclination. Whereas the chapter presents itself as very, very clean. Chizuru in the cover doesn't look super clean, but looks quite appealing in that regard. In that sense, like I explained, she's a perfect vessel for the ugliness. Except the ugliness is there in plain view. There's a sense of debauchery and a messiness to it that comes off again like a teenager. It's kind of meant to be a little bit gross and not traditionally appealing. That's kind of the idea, is that it's just not traditionally appealing to Japanese standards, while at the same time, it is sexually appealing. There is a sexual appeal there, very much intentionally so. Okay. So they have a dual nature of goals and dreams placed high with the star, but also contain sexual desires that are actually closer to their heart. The black swimsuit bow combo really makes Chizuru resemble Ruka an awful lot here. I think it's how Chizuru yearns to be similar to Ruka and how straightforward she can be with her love for Kazuya. So perhaps Chizuru is starting to adopt some of that affection and behaviors of Ruka, a dangerous proposition seeing as Ruka is now the source of the abuse and shame for Kazuya. The caption is roughly, tie my hair up, hop in the car, and take me to the sea, which is odd because it contrasts the destination that Kazuya plans to take her to. Well, he is going through an aquatic lane. So they are going to the sea. They are technically going to the sea. There's often a trope in the manga stories where the characters are asked if they prefer the sea or the mountains for summer vacation. Are the preference of destination between Kazuya and Chizuru misaligned? Lastly, as the car, this is a heist Toyota. It's a van. It's reliable and dependable. It's a date car for two. So it's not actually a date car. It's a commercial car. It's a car for carrying stuff and moving things. It's a reliable traveler car. It's not a car for a date. The car literally doesn't match, just as Chizuru doesn't match. There's literally a misalignment happening. The entire visual presentation of the opening page is a sense of misalignment. Things are not aligning. It being a Toyota, I've mentioned before, the Toyota symbol literally is supposed to look like two hearts interconnecting. I talked about this on my Twitter page where I found out that, like, okay, so what is the point of the Toyota logo? I was just curious about that. So I looked it up because someone in chat said some weird shit. And I'm like, what the fuck are they on about? So I looked it up. And wouldn't you know it, the Toyota logo is meant to represent the interlocking hearts between the customer and the company. And it's meant to represent the trust between the two. That when you buy a car from Toyota, you're going to have you're guaranteed like a safe car. That's the idea. It's like, it's meant to guarantee a safe car. It's meant to represent trust. A trust that's not present in this chapter. A trust that does not align with this car because Kazuya is not equipped to deal with it. A trust that doesn't align with Chizuru because what do you visually see in the opening? Right? This is supposed to be a card representing of trust. What do you not see? You don't see Chizuru's hand. You don't see either of Chizuru's hands. You don't know her intent. How can you say you trust this person? You don't even know what the fuck they're doing. There is no trust here. Chizuru's hands being hidden visually represents that. You don't see her feet or her hands. You see a perfect bow tie. You see a star that you're aiming for. She fucking looks like a JoJo character, even though it's supposed to be on the back of the shoulder, but whatever. She's a fucking JoJo character. And then you have the hearts right here near the pelvis. Like really low, very close. It makes you look at the crotch area. Right? There's a seductive element to Chizuru here where when she wears the swimsuit, if it was just the swimsuit, it'd be a little less seductive. But because she wears the shorts and the shorts are slightly open showing the swimsuit, it gives off a very seductive feel. It's like you're being baited into sex. That's why I'm saying there's an uncleanliness to it. There's a debauchery element to this that it's supposed to be baiting you into sex. Oh. Like when you look at this, you're like, oh, we're going to have sex. Right? You're going to be in this van and you're going to be fucking. That's the vibe it's supposed to be giving you. It's misleading. Right? When you see a black swimsuit, bro, like debauchery, straight up. That you think hot doodle sex with this. you think like crazy hot sex with a fucking swimsuit. In particular, a black swimsuit. That's why Ruka wore a black swimsuit. Okay, let's continue. Kind of seems like the car you'd want to use when you're going with a group of people or need to carry a bunch of stuff or overnight. It's like the current narrative is telling us it's going to go one way, but has plans for something completely different. Again, I said something completely very, very similar to this on my Twitter thread. Speaking of which, let me pull that up. Just out of curiosity. Because I haven't looked at it in a hot minute. The illusion of interlocking hearts. The Toyota logo was created to look like two hearts connecting, the heart of the customer and the heart of the company, representing the mutual trust between them. A trust not present in chapter 423 for Chizuru is not even here. Right, so we can read this a little later. We can get this in a little bit later, but that also aligns with something else. The Toyota logo is supposed to be two interlocking hearts. What do you see on Chizuru's pelvis? Like, we're sorry, not even her pelvis. This is like, it's her near her pelvis. That's more her midriff. And what do you see here? Two hearts. Two hearts, two hearts. It's supposed to be two interlocking hearts. Yet you see two separate hearts and two interlocking hearts. That's weird. Let's continue. The opening page is meant to look like the stereotypical demon lord wittily laughing at their self-proclaimed genius, and the license photo is just icing on the cake. You see, photos are objective. You see, photos are objective reality of how you are perceived by others. So when Kazuya makes the comment that the photo makes him look mean, this is meant to convey how the world is generally perceives him. If you're wondering if we have ever gotten a photo of Kazuya previously, then the answer is yes. As far as I could find, there are 3 previous photos taken of Kazuya. You can find them in chapter 3, 67, 82. Oh, there's more. No, there's more. There's definitely more. There's a lot more. Each of them give off a completely different impression of Kazuya, and arguably the one from chapter 67, which has a filter applied to it, is the one that matches Kazuya's internal state. Best this chapter, complete with chibi eyes in page 3 and 4. He also immediately has a daydream of him and Chizuru smooching in the car. Pay very careful attention to all the words here. The surprise about Kazuya getting his license so quickly, the praise of the man who buckles down, how he has been thinking about how she has been thinking about him all this time. The expose of the shoulder, like how the cover photo has an exposed shoulder where the star tattoo is located. Oh, you're right. You're right. It's the same exact shoulder. You're right. I think that's really fascinating. It's there's this big focus on the shoulder recently, especially with Minnie, because Minnie is the one who has Minnie is the one who has the shoulder thing happening a lot recently, right? Like you can see it in one of the recent chapters. I'll pull it up later. But yeah, it's the sexy shoulder, right? It's literally meant to be the sexy shoulder. How he's been thinking about her. Okay, okay. But here, instead of it being like a dream, it's a sexy shoulder. And then Kazuya recognizes that the desire has been overflowing since the kiss, but says that he needs to stop putting on a rose-colored glasses. Put a pin in those glasses for now, because it will take some time to delve into why it's important. It's really funny that you mentioned rose. Okay, so let's see where Kazuya says this, the rose glasses. I've got to take off those rose-tinted glasses. Okay, so this is what's interesting. Beautiful hair, sexy shoulder. I love a man who can buckle down and get what he wants. And here I just couldn't. He's doing what Ruka does. Oh my God, he's doing what Ruka does. He thinks if he puts in enough effort, she'll love him. He's doing what Ruka does. Ruka is highlighting his ugliness. Ruka returning highlights everything I described earlier with Ruka. We were reading that one person's tweet. It's Kazuya. It's Kazuya's misaligned beliefs that if he does enough for Chizuru, that he can decide for her, and she'll just love him. If he does enough, she'll love him. And then if you, the reason I said pause on the rose-tinted glasses is specifically because during the Odaiba date, we're going to go to it really quick. During the Odaiba date, I'm trying to see which one it was on. Which page was it? Not that one. Sorry, it was chapter. Kibe. 373. 374. Okay, why is this interesting? I'm going to show you the... Well, this is the Japanese version. It reads as curry in a dream. You'll notice bottles and roses. You're seeing this through rose-tinted glasses. You're literally looking at this through rose-tinted glasses. This was the chapter where they get 100%. And then as they go and they talk about things, Kazuya looks at the place around him and he's like, why does it feel different? It's like Chizuru was the experience. He literally sees the place through rose-tinted glasses. He's in a dream. He sees her through rose-tinted glasses. He's not actually looking at the place realistically. It's almost like this aligns perfectly with the fucking date. Okay. Let's see. He then looks at his phone screen and says the poster for an event at Mother Farm. The picture is pulled directly from Mother Farm's website, and he says that he's been doing a lot of research since then. It's like Reiji is inviting us to do our own research and confirm things are at the farm too. The next page has his planned route to the farm. One thing that really wants to catch your eye is that the center, the midpoint, if you will, is the thing called Umihatoro. What is this thing? Well, it turns out it's a man-made island with the hotel Umihatoro sitting on top of it. It's right at the midpoint on the road called the Tokyo Aqua Lane. Recall what Kazuya says when he looks at the provisional license. I can take lessons on the road now. I've cleared the midpoint hurdle. Well, why would that be relevant to the Umihatoro? Well, there's something really surprising about the Tokyo Aqua Lane. Okay, we're addressing the Tokyo Aqua Lane, so he did know about it. Half of it is a tunnel under the sea. Huh. The engineering marvel is the fourth largest tunnel in the world and was made so that the line crossing the bay wouldn't inhabit the travel of ships. Coming from Tokyo, you enter the tunnel and then emerge at Umihatoro, where suddenly the rest of the way is a bridge over the ocean. It's almost like the story up until now has been deliberately hiding and tunneling us under the problems of the sea. Oh, that's such a good read! Ooh, that's such a good read! Mad respect. He put in the research. Mad respect. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Mad respect. Mad respect. You put in mad research for that. Good job. No, straight up, he deserves some fucking claps, dude. There's no irony here. There is no fucking irony here. Straight up, 10 out of 10. Holy shit. Respect. That's such a good one. Wow. And that's fun because I read that in the chapter. I just didn't catch that thing. That's cool. That's really cool. I didn't even notice that. That's really cool. I didn't even research that. I'll admit. I'll be the first to admit I didn't research that. I didn't put in the research to that. I've just been kind of taking a break the past few days playing fucking Final Fantasy like a little bitch. Like a little bitch. I'll be the first to admit I've just been taking a break playing Final Fantasy and writing about the recent episode. That's such a cool catch. That is an incredibly cool catch. Mad respect. The sea that all the characters entered after the watershed moment of Hawaiians. Yep. Perfect connection. You can't even see what the problems are when you're in a tunnel, right? You're literally tunnel visioning. I've talked about tunnel visioning in the past too. I've literally talked about this too. Like Kazuya is tunnel visioning. I've discussed this as well. Your vision is completely shut off from the outside. You have no choice but to follow the straight path and be cut off from the greater world around you. Kind of like how Kazuya has been unable to really perceive the situation of others around him. Yeah, he's literally tunnel visioning. Like mad hard. And I think now that we're at the midpoint, that is an indicator that there's going to be some sort of shift now. And I even said this, if you guys remember, when we got to the Sumi chapters, I'm like, this is going to result in some sort of shift. One of my biggest reads when we read the Sumi chapter in particular was what Reiji visually shows us, right? So when you interact with Sumi, one of the things Reiji visually shows us, so this is the first chapter of The Boyfriend in Love, Kazuya goes to Sumi and let me see if you can see this. Let me make sure you guys can see this. So pay close attention to what just happens. Sumi comes up behind him and blinds him, right? He's blinded, then opens his eyes. And then he turns and he sees Sumi next to him. When she says boo, her eyes are closed, as if literally indicating to us what this arc is going to do is open our eyes. So from here on out, we are going to open our eyes. That's what the indication of the arc is, and that's what the arc has done. While it has closed Kazuya's eyes, it has opened ours, right? We're seeing the vision from his perspective. It closed Kazuya's eyes, but it opened ours. Whereas we're looking at someone who closes their eyes, right? We're looking at Sumi, who has closed her eyes. She herself is blind. Okay, let's continue. Kazuya continues to think about all the wonderful things that he can experience at the forum, how he's like a kid who's super excited to have an absolute blast. He loves how fresh and new an experience at the forum must be for Chizuru, who has exclusively had rental dates in the city per the rental contract stipulations. So this is definitely not a rental date for Kazuya. He desperately wants to remove the artifacts of rental so that this date can be an authentic one. And yet, when he imagines Chizuru, she's wearing her fucking rental outfit. Something I also said. He then starts talking about the language of flowers for the petunias that will fully bloom on July 11th. They are a breed called Peachy Sai and claims that it has the special meaning of honesty from the heart. The next page is an absolute gorgeous double spread that reminds me of when Kazuya and Chizuru were filming the final movie scene in chapter 136. Yep, I believe I said the same thing. Oh, can you guys see me? I should move myself. Only now we're in the sunlight, and rather than being simple field, it is larger than life one filled with flowers, almost too good to be true. Back in reality, Kazuya calls out to Mami, who, unbeknownst to him, is shocked and surprised as we see that her heart thumps powerfully. Kazuya asks if he can see her picture, and she coolly refuses, only to then walk over to him and hand it directly to him. Here we see the objective picture of Mami. Mami appears doll-like in her photo with nary an expression. Mami clearly embarrassed that Kazuya is staring so intently at her photo. Does she appear doll-like? I mean, I remember I compared her, like, if you guys watched our first stream when we were talking about Mami, I remember I compared her to the Final Fantasy characters. Like she literally does appear doll-like. That's a good read of it. I literally compared her to like one of the Polygon, like old school, not Polygon, the old school like Polygon characters from Final Fantasy VII, where like the old chibi art styles. And that's literally what I compared her to. But yes, she does appear also kind of doll-like. All I see is a pretty girl. I mean, she's super cute, right? She appears kind of doll-like. No expression, just kind of blank, right? But how she appears to us is quite different. Okay. Mami, clearly embarrassed that Kazuya is staring so intently at her photos, snatches it back. Kazuya compliments her and compares it jokingly to how he looks like a thug in contrast. Mami remains silent as she recalls the words from her brother, and she finally says, "Kazu-kun, you're actually a red bean bun." Mami then simply walks off with the cryptic saying as her final retort. Back at the apartment, Kazuya contemplates the meaning of the red bean bun comment, while also refining his confession to Chizuru further. He's keeping on his workout routine as he does sit-ups during all of this. He's still struggling with the contents of the confession, and it causes him to think of both Sumi's words and Minnie's words. They pull him from both sides. One says to be confident without trying to be cool, and the other says to hold back and don't overcommit, which is pretty much the textbook version of playing it cool. He then starts to reflect on Chizuru's struggle during the date again. He's been doing this more and more lately. It's kind of like there's a realization on the horizon for him about what exactly she is struggling with. In a shot that verges on leering of Kazuya's drenched in sweat, he says something pretty profound. If she can't decide, then I want to give her the answer. It might not seem like much, but it really is thematic of the exact moment of chapter 383 that he's thinking about. Kazuya is carrying Chizuru and in turn relieving her of her burdens that made her choice so difficult. This is where I disagree. He's trying to force an answer on her and he doesn't realize it. He wants to give her the answer. You can't give anyone else an answer for their feelings. It is their feelings. You can't give them an answer. You could help them find it, but you can never give them an answer. And that is, I believe, that's why I believe Ruka comes back. Ruka is trying to give Kazuya an answer. An answer he does not want. Chizuru is searching for an answer from someone else that she'll never get because she has to find it herself. And that's what I think she's trying to do. You can't force an answer on someone. Maybe he'll say that later. Let's keep reading. Okay. In that moment, it is clarifying to Chizuru what exactly Kazuya means to her. If Kazuya can simply relieve her of the burden of deciding what the answer is to the question of her love, then it should reveal what her heart actually wants. It's like when you don't know how to make a choice about where to eat, so you flip a coin to decide for you. If you're disappointed in the outcome, then you know what choice you really want to make. I don't think so. The only thing I don't agree with is this last part. The only thing I don't agree with is kind of this last part. Everything else, I've kind of aligned with you. Everything else, dude, I've kind of aligned with you. This particular last part, something just isn't clicking for me. I don't know why I don't agree with it. In particular, because of this idea of like giving her a choice, giving her the answer. You can't give anyone the answer. Even in therapy, they literally tell you, I can't give you the answer. I swear, go to therapy. They'll literally tell you, I can't give you the answer. I'm just here to help you find it. I'm giving you the tools to find it. I can't give you the answer. And I think, let's see. Sorry, let's finish reading what he said. Finally, we get the ding at the door, and the fisheye lens view, we get Ruka standing there in her school outfit looking determined. Oh my god, you see Ruka from a tunnel. You see Ruka from a fucking fisheye lens, bro. You're seeing her through a tunnel. You're seeing her through a tunnel. You're tunnel visioning on Ruka. You don't see her accurately. You're seeing her through a little lens. You're not actually seeing Ruka correctly. Reishi's literally telling you. You're not actually seeing her correctly. Okay, give me a sec, gang. I'm gonna use the restroom really quick. Might grab some water while I'm at it. I'll be back, and I'll read some of the comments. See you guys in just we back. Okay. Oh my god, you still had more to go. But yeah, the scene does look really similar. And here, look at Kazuya here. He doesn't look as cool. Right? Look at Kazuya here. He does not look as cool. But it looks more genuine. And Chizuru is also dressed for a play here. She's dressed for the movie. She's not dressed normally. So I tried to go through and tell the chapter fairly straight and not dwell too much on some of the details. But now I want to show you how the chapter is just straight up lying to you. Okay? Okay. The first detail I noticed was that the essuance, what? I don't think I've ever read this word. Essuance? Let's see how you pronounce it. Issuance. Okay. Okay. Never mind. I've just never heard. I know this word. I've just never read it like this. The issuance date on the provisional license is June 19th. Hey, that's my birthday. June 19th. Yes, I am born on Juneteenth, fellas. I am born on Juneteenth. That is my birthday. It's very close now, actually. Shit, it's almost my birthday. It's also almost Kazuya's birthday. Oh boy. What's Kazuya's birthday present gonna be? Get fucking wrecked. Get fucking rocked, brother. Kazuya's birthday present gets rocked. Sorry, just putting on some music. Oh, dude. At some point, I really have to play Final Fantasy XIV on stream because the music for this game is so fucking good. Like, they have such a big variety of songs for 14. It's so peak. At some point, I really gotta, like, play this game on stream. Okay. Let's see. The last chapter, we could see that the timestamp on the Twitter post was June 23rd. The reason for this is that they're using a tweet from August 23rd, 2025. It's not exactly clear why they kept the 23rd, but changed it to be to June. It should be fairly trivial to change both. Now the issuance date isn't always the date on which you receive the license. The date is the day you take the test to pass the test. Now, it's totally reasonable to assume that they could print it the same day, but it's kind of ambiguous as to what the actual date is, being my point. So I don't necessarily call this a lie, but it doesn't put us on firm footing. Yeah, it's inconsistent. However, so this is my stance on this, as someone who's read this manga for fucking years, okay? Reiji so Reiji, like, knows he fucking sucks with time. Like, straight up. He knows. He knows he sucks with time. So what he's doing is that he's introducing a narrative element of time being literally inconsistent. And so when he makes the mistake, it's actually almost intentional, which is really fucking cool. He's like, okay, so I'm going to keep making this mistake. I might as well use it to reflect how things are inconsistent through time, because it's literally like the characters are time traveling. So he's literally using the mistake he used to make regularly in the past, where like this is okay. If you want an objective mistake on what Reiji does in the manga, for those who are like, oh, Reiji doesn't like make mistakes, or sorry, for those who are like, oh, you know, there's objectively wrong things in this manga. First off, you're wrong. Here's an actually objectively incorrect thing that Reiji does, like a straight up error. He puts times incorrect. The times in the manga are sometimes just straight up incorrect. Like, he'll say it's this date, and then he'll be like, but it's this date, but then he'll fuck up the date 2 seconds later. Case in point, just go to Odaiba. It's supposed to be on the 17th. When he writes it's supposed to be May 17th. There's a scene, and like right when they get to the mall, it says 5:16 on Kazuya's phone. Then later, it says, like, at the very end of the date, you look at Kazuya's phone again, and this time it says 17 instead of 16, but it's June, so it's 6/17. So if there's one thing Reiji regularly fucks up on, but he's starting to utilize or has been utilizing for a little bit, is how he puts time in the manga. So for instance, the story used to actually be dated on like around our time. But then it started just not making sense for some of the things that he was depicting. So like so sorry, it wasn't our time, it was like before. So the story was supposed to be set in like it was supposed to be set like a few years before us because it's not moving as fast as us. So at one point he like dabbled with just changing the time to our time. So like he went from like 2020 to 2022. He just skipped 2 years. And then he didn't like that. He's just like, okay, I don't want to just like skip around years and shit. So instead, what he did, he just made it 20XX. So it's just not clear. It's just not clear. So he can incorporate modern elements without it being like weird. So just time is just not consistent. In that way, Reiji has also been utilizing specific elements from the story in having time being weird like that. So that one is more of like a meta thing. It's not the story straight up lying to you. It's Reiji more like being quite aware of his time issues with the manga. And I mean like I genuinely think that this might be like more of an objective-ish thing than like a non-objective-ish thing. Like this is where we can be like a little bit objective about it, where there is like some contextual element of just like, okay, so Reiji's had issues with time in the past. He's literally leveraging time being inconsistent in the manga by having weird time things happen. Especially more so because in the English, you don't see the like in the Japanese version, we see it, right? In the Japanese version, we see what the exact date is for the tweet that he's talking about, which is the what's this? Wait, what? Wait, what did that say? Wait, what the fuck? Save. Wait, what the hell? Google Translate. Photo. Wait, what the hell? Wait, what did that say? Whoa, what the fuck is going on? Something happening on the 12th? Oh, 138 chapters for free until... Okay, okay. Nothing serious. I thought something was happening. Okay. So yeah, when we looked at it, right, it says 2020, but we don't know the year. 6/23rd. But this is also grayed out. So, oh, no, we're not actually supposed to know the date. Oh, we're not actually supposed to know the date. This is specifically grayed out. How? Oh. Okay, so we're not actually supposed to know. No. Okay, okay. We're not supposed to know the month, and we're not supposed to know. Okay, no. So this is just a mistake. No. This is a misread on our part. We're not supposed to know the month. It's specifically grayed out. Was it grayed out when we looked at it before? Let's go to an earlier stream. Okay. It wasn't grayed out. No, not on the main thing. So funny me seeing myself move like Okay. If it was always grayed out, then we were not meant to read it. And if they graded out afterwards, they did not intend. No, so it's supposed to be the 19th. That was not intended. It might have been a mistake. Okay. Yeah, it was always grayed out. Okay, no, we're not supposed to read it. Yeah. close this. Yeah, it almost looks like a 5 too. Yeah, it actually almost looks like a 5, so it would be May. So it's not. Oh, so this is not. No. Okay. No. We're not supposed to read this. This is just an error. This is just an error. We're not supposed to read this. Okay. No. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think that clears it up. There is no time error. There's no lie here. There's no lie here. So it really is June 19 right now. Yes. No, there is. This is just a mistake on our part. Okay. I'm glad we checked it. No, okay, so we can just ignore that. We can just straight up ignore that. That's just a mistake on our part. It was not meant to be read. The reason I can say this for a fact, please understand, the reason I can say this for a fact is because of this. Let me pull up something that like where is it? This is why I can say, like, I essentially understand how Reiji does things now. Okay, right here, this is French. If you really zoom in and try to understand what it says, you can make out some poorly written French. Like, just straight up poorly written French. For the longest time, I was really curious what it said. We talked to a French reader, we did a whole thing, and we realized what it was supposed to say, which they wrote wrong, by the way, because Japan regularly, like, puts English, or they puts French, like, they're, like, weird French or weird English that's not correctly written. So they put incorrectly written French, which, what this is supposed to say, is that I only see you. However, I asked Reiji about this. I was on his Twitter space and I asked him, and he literally said this was not meant to be legible. He didn't want you to read this. Okay? So when we see how that looks, I can safely assume this was not meant to be read. When you see how the years grayed out and you see how this is grayed out, this was not meant to be read. You're not supposed to read this. You're just supposed to know the date, right? You're supposed to know the date, and you're supposed to kind of know the year. It's meant to give you a rough estimate. You're not supposed to know what it is. It is the 19th. This is just incorrect, straight up. This is wrong. And I think that's just a fair assessment to make. When it's not clearly legible, he did not want you to read it. And this is not clearly legible. This looks like a 5 and looks like a 6. I can't even tell. Like I can here. We're gonna uber zoom in. It looks kind of like a 6. It looks kind of like a 6, but it's barely legible. You're not meant to read this. Okay, so we can just straight up ignore that. This is just a mistake on our part as readers. I can safely assume this is just a mistake on our part as readers. Nothing less. That's all. Okay, so let's just, if anyone sees this, we're supposed to ignore that. It is the 19th. Straight up. Now, 3 things are lying to you in this chapter. Kazuya, Mami, and even Reiji. The first lie I can see is that Kazuya says that he puts on rose-colored glasses. But if we would carefully analyze what we know about Chizuru and how the Field of Flowers vision is portrayed, I think this is the moment where he puts on the rose-colored glasses. Ooh, that's a fair assessment. Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Kazuya put on the rose-colored glasses when he literally saw fucking roses or flowers. So the car kissing vision, that's closer to actual reality than the Field of Flowers. Yeah, and Chizuru literally dresses normally in that one in comparison to the other ones. Right? Chizuru dresses normally in that one, whereas all the other ones, she's literally wearing rental clothes. So that's actually a fair assessment. So the things I point out being said in the kissing vision are that there are things that I've either seen Chizuru do or say. She was impressed by how quickly Kazuya was able to produce a movie for her. At the Odaiba day during dinner, she was asking him about his future plans, which is like how she says in the vision about how she likes a man who can buckle down. And though we haven't seen much of Chizuru lately, when we do see her, she's thinking about Kazuya all the time. The other thing I want to point out is her attire. It's kind of hard to tell what it is, but it isn't the first day outfit that a lot of delusions have. Not the first day, second. It's the second date. It's a common misinterpretation. It's the second date, not the first, which is really ironic because the second date is literally her being idolized specifically for him, whereas the first date, it's not specifically just for him. It's much closer to... it's funny because Chizuru thinks of the first date they met, whereas Kazuya tends to think of the second date. I think that's really fascinating. Chizuru has a tendency to think of the first date they met. That's the date she often references and talks about. But Kazuya has a tendency to think of the second date. And there are times where Chizuru thinks of the second. Let's not get that wrong. But a lot of times it's also the first. Okay. The other thing I want to point out is her attire. It's kind of hard to tell what it is, but it isn't the first day outfit that's a lot of delusions have. It's much closer to resemblance to her Odaiba outfit, with a similar ribbing and the short sleeve lace being a match for it as well. It's mostly just missing the collar and with the frills around the forearm. You can also clearly see both of their faces. Now, contrast that with when we see the flower fields. The outfit is the first date one, and the faces are obscured. The pose from Chizuru is similar to the moment in chapter 135, but Kazuya is almost aloof. The setting is a real place, but its framing is too grandiose to be real. His plans for the date are really close to rose-colored glasses. Now, how is Reiji lying to us? Well, look at the language of flowers that Kazuya finds in contrast with the mother farm one on the side of the real language. The flower language of peach-colored breath is, if I'm... No. So this is not a lie. This is not a lie. I made the same assumption. That is incorrect. No. Okay. Let's clear this up. If you go to Petunias, what it will say, and they do this with all the language of flowers, they have color associations. Okay, but the general but all the flowers have general meanings. Okay, so that's really important. There's a color association. That's where we're wrong. The peach ones, or sorry, not the peach ones, the pink ones in particular, mean what Kazuya said. He's not lying. The pink ones is accurate, but the real meaning, the general meaning is, my heart is at ease when I'm at you. Peace of mind. But the pink ones in particular, like if you look them up, they do have that. And here, I'll show you. So I got this article from this user right here. He's a Japanese user. He sent me this article. It's a Japanese article. Okay. The meaning of petunias will also explain the meaning associated with each color. He's not lying about this. Pink petunias mean a natural heart, aka honesty from the heart. No, it is real. It's because they have color associations. This is a thing in the language of flowers. A lot of flowers have color associations that mean different things. The general meaning, which they mention here, is my heart is at peace when I am with you. Rather, think of this as a misdirect. Rather than Reiji lying to you. He's misdirecting you away. Natural heart is the meaning you associate with the flowers, right? Because of what Kazuya says. Kazuya thinks the solution to his problem is if he has an honest heart, a natural heart. What he's incorrect about is that what he actually feels with Chizuru is that he's at peace. He has a peace of mind with her. He feels his heart is at peace when he is with her. His heart is not at peace when he's with other people. And this is for a fact the reason, right? This is the answer to their love. And I have no better explanation for this. No better explanation for this than right here. Chapter 263. Okay, let me find the clean version. Okay, chapter 263. Kazuya and Mami's meet up after a very long time. They meet up. It's a direct parallel to when Chizuru met up with Kazuya. Kazuya's freaked out all the same. It ends, right? So it ends with Kazuya apologizing to Mommy again, when we all know she should apologize to him. Then she just leaves. Pay attention to Kazuya's face here. Very, what the fuck just happened? What is going on? I'm freaking the fuck out. I don't know what's happening. And he just leaves and look at Kazuya. He's confused. He's frustrated. He doesn't know what's happening. Mommy leaves him confused. He runs into Chizuru. Direct parallel. Right? Look at this shot. Look at this shot. Very similar. Except Kazuya takes up more of the screen. Did you notice that? It feels more like Kazuya is Chizuru's equal. Right? So let's go to the first one, just very carefully. Kazuya is literally, like, this is the top of Kazuya's head, and this is the top of Mommy's head. Mommy is literally, in this panel, higher than him. There's an imbalance. Kazuya takes up less of the screen. She takes up more of the screen. Right? She's literally in the center. He takes up less of the screen. Look at this. Kazuya is actually a little taller than Chizuru. But they're about eyesight. She's not at the center. She's actually a little to the side. He gets more room. He's not directly at the center. Now look at this. He's relaxed. There's no stress. He doesn't have what the fuck is going on energy. He knows exactly what he's getting. What the fuck just happened? He has no idea what's happening. Knows exactly what's happening here. Now what's interesting, you see Mommy wave by at Kazuya as if it was very clear what happened here. You don't see Chizuru's hands here. They're spread out. Right? Chizuru's hands are hidden, and yet he feels comfortable with her. Because what's happening, her chest is wide open. She's not covering herself up in any way. She's not hiding anything. Mommy is essentially telling Kazuya stop. Chizuru is opening her arms wide open, welcoming him in. As she literally says, welcome back. He feels comfortable with Chizuru. This is the real meaning. This isn't Reiji lying to you. It's Reiji misdirecting you. It's Reiji misdirecting you by using a specific name, being the a natural heart or an honest heart, when the real meaning of Kazuya's love for Chizuru is when he is with her, he has a peace of mind. He feels safe with her. He feels comfortable with her, which is the truth. He is. Chizuru was literally Kazuya's safety. He feels comfortable with her. He feels safe with her. And then he does the same for her. She feels safe with him. That is literally one of the most important things in relationships. Something a lot of people like heavily underestimate, and something Mommy was not looking for. If you go back to Mommy's backstory, she literally says the reason she got into the relationship is because it was scary. Because she didn't feel safe. She wanted to not feel safe. Kazuya, in contrast, feels safe. One of the most important things for a lot of women, and a lot of men, I would argue too, is comfortability in a relationship. That you can just be with someone and it's chill. And that's how you know, ayo, I like this person because I feel I can be myself with them. That's what you want, dude. If you're searching for a relationship, be with someone or choose to be with someone who will not judge you for like who you are. Who will make you feel comfortable in who you are. They'll like you for you. So they won't tell you to quit video games. They won't tell you to go and get fit. They won't tell you you need to get a better job. They'll help you get a better job. If they think you're struggling financially, they'll help you get a better job. They'll be there for you. They'll give you assistance. They'll listen to you. They'll cheer you on. They're not going to make you do it and not do anything. They're not going to make you quit video games because, oh, video games are unattractive. Fuck off. No. That is the point. I think that's what Reishi's hiding. Kazuya is focusing on the specific meaning of these flowers, not the general meaning, which is more important. He's trying to have an honest heart when that's not the point. A relationship is not specifically just about being super duper honest about every little fucking detail. It's about having a peace of mind with someone. That even if there might be lies or fighting or uncomfortability, you can talk to them. That's it. Okay. Let's see here. The irony being he lied. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. The irony being he lied to make something super appear like honesty. And what's fascinating to me is that Chizuru loves Kazuya whether she knows it or not, exactly because where her heart finds peace. Sure, it causes the heart to race, but it also is a place where she shed tears and felt cleanse. Again, just to like double down on this and prove this is in fact the intended point, Kazuya's name literally means peace and harmony shared under a tree. Chizuru's name, if you kind of like thoroughly translate it, would mean something like Chizuru Ichinose, would translate to something along the lines of 1,000 paper cranes in a single river. Now, what's interesting about this? Why does Kazuya offer peace and harmony for Chizuru? Because paper cranes on water would melt. Doesn't matter if there's 1,000 of them. If they're all in the water, they're going to melt. And Chizuru is a rain woman. If you put a paper crane under a tree, what is a tree? It is safety from the rain. It is safety from the water. It literally absorbs water. He literally keeps her dream alive. She loves him because he offers her peace and comfort. Their names are literally synonymous with each other. They work off of or not synonymous. They work off of each other. They complement each other. She gives water to his tree, and his tree protects her from the water. They are synonymous. She literally provides a dream to the tree, right? What is paper made from? A fucking tree. She literally molds the tree into something. She allows him to have a dream. She shapes the tree into something, and he protects the tree, and the tree in turn protects her from water. Their names are literally synonymous. It's so fucking cool. And then Mizuhara also works with that because literally it just means Chizuru Mizuhara just means 1,000 paper cranes on a plane of water. The thing about Mizuhara is that it's intentionally a very vague name in that it's it doesn't specify something. It's a plane of water, not a single current of water. Whereas Ichinose is a single current of water channeled in a particular direction. Mizuhara is malleable. It can be anything. That is the point. Whereas Chizuru herself is not anything. She's a person. That's why Ichinose is technically real Chizuru. Right? That's the problem with Mizuhara. It's not that Mizuhara is the issue. Mizuhara is a part of Chizuru. However, to define Chizuru by Mizuhara is the problem. Chizuru is not Mizuhara. She is Chizuru, which happens to be, and her full name is Chizuru Ichinose, right? But Mizuhara is a part of her. Okay? It's just you can't define her by Mizuhara. Okay. As for Mami, she's lying so much that she's getting confused about what exactly she feels to begin with. Yeah, she's literally lying to herself. Like, we already said this. She literally did a confirmation bias test where she fucking lied to herself. This should remind you exactly of Chizuru, who kept going back and forth about the shape of her love until she couldn't even see that it was both the shapes that she described. She both wants to spend all her time with Kazuya, and she wants to give him everything. She wants it all. So why is Mami the same? First, Mami hides that Kazuya is having an effect on her when he calls out to her. Yes. Exactly how Chizuru hides an effect that Kazuya may be having on her behind the rental facade in the beginning of the series. They're meant to be parallels. Second, Mami says no to showing Kazuya her photo, but her actions contradict her words. Just like many times Chizuru's actions have contradicted her words. But what did Chizuru do now? She flipped it. What did Chizuru do now? She flipped it. Whereas before she would say, don't take it the wrong way, proceeds to tell him oh, the emotional thing I just showed you is not what I actually meant. Whereas now it's the opposite. She comes off as callous sometimes. She comes off as like mean sometimes. And she's like, don't take it the wrong way. My emotional feelings is my intent. And then she clarifies her emotions. Chizuru is doing the opposite. Mommy's doing what Chizuru used to do at the start of the series. Let's see. But her actions contradict her words, just like many times Chizuru's actions have contradicted her words. She decides on her own to go to Hawaiians, but she said it would just be like any other rental. And finally, Mommy says, I think you're actually a red bean bun, which is a direct contradiction to the end of chapter 417 when she says it's not like that. Except in that exact moment, she's being a tsundere. Because a part of her believes it might actually be like that. So this is literally her checking. It's not like that is verbatim a line that Chizuru says too. Chizuru and Mommy are not mirrors of each other. They are the same person in different circumstances. Yeah. Two sides of the same coin. Mommy is what is called a dark reflection. A dark reflection is basically a character who essentially is the main character placed in a different circumstance. A what-if scenario. That is what a dark reflection is. It is something you'll see in literature a lot. Usually, the antagonist of the story is oftentimes the dark reflection. That's usually how it goes. So that's pretty much what Mommy is. She's the dark reflection. She's the other side of the coin. Sorry, I'm having some mad bops. The shadow self. Yeah, no, I agree. It is also the shadow self. She's kind of Vanitas. She's low-key Vanitas. Because Mommy represents Chizuru's bad half, if you will. Mommy essentially represents the bad half of Chizuru that Chizuru can't forgive. And so basically, because Chizuru can't forgive Mommy, she can't forgive herself. Mommy is Chizuru's nobody. Shut the fuck up. Oh my god, shut the fuck up. No, I don't think so. I don't think that works. If you say she's her Vanitas, that makes more sense because Vanitas is not Ventus's nobody. He's literally his darkness. I was watching this video that was really cool that Hero of Light sent to me, where the dude was literally talking about Vanitas and like the whole point of his character. And Vanitas is literally your internal voice. So the dude who's talking about this is a therapist, and he was literally, or I think he was a licensed psychiatrist actually, which is like even crazier. Anyways, he was literally saying like Vanitas, the way he talks to Ventus, is exactly how your internal thoughts talk to you when they berate you, when they tell you you're a piece of shit. And I'm like, oh, I can't unsee it. Oh, I can't unsee it. That's crazy. So that's literally it. I think he's, you can't say he's a nobody because the nobody has their own sentience. Mommy is not attached to Chizuru. I would say Ruka is more of Chizuru's nobody. I think Ruka is a more fitting nobody for Chizuru. Whereas Mommy is not Chizuru's nobody. She's Chizuru's darkness. Literally self-hatred made manifest. Right? It's literally what it is. So that's I think that Mommy, it literally represents Chizuru's self-hatred. So just as Chizuru can't forgive herself for her past sins, she can't forgive Mommy. And in that same way, Mommy also represents Chizuru's mom, who Chizuru also sees as purely bad when she's not. And even Chizuru knows she's not actually bad. So basically the whole point of Mommy's character, in my opinion, is that Chizuru needs to forgive her. That's my opinion on Mommy's character. I think Chizuru needs to forgive her. In order to forgive herself. She needs to forgive Mommy in order to forgive herself. To recognize that had Chizuru been in Mommy's circumstances, she could have been the same person. Rich versus poor. And just like how Mommy is now flipping back and forth between what her definitive answer is, the real answer is that it's both things for her. She wants what she lost because someone else has it, but also it's more than that. She really wants Kazuya the person too. She wants what she lost. But I think, and you're going to hate me for this, I think what Mommy really wants is like Mommy's desire for Kazuya is a disguise from what Mommy really wants. She wants what Kazuya offers. She wants the peace of mind that Kazuya offers. Do you... Why do you think these look like petunias? It's not Kazuya specifically. That's the sad part. She wants back what she lost, and she wants what Kazuya offers. In particular, she wants love. In particular, she wants love. That's most what mommy actually wants. She wants safety and peace of mind and the ability to choose for herself. And Kazuya provides that. What mommy has with Kazuya, I don't think she loves what Kazuya gives. I think mommy loves what Kazuya gives. Not simply Kazuya the person, because Kazuya the person is all over the place here. And I can kind of prove that it's what Kazuya gives, specifically because he gives her something here, she rejects it, and then when she gets it, she turns away. Mommy and Kazuya's relationship is give and take. I don't know if she really loves Kazuya for Kazuya. I think she loves Kazuya for what he gives. Which is, I believe, what Chizuru is afraid of. You know? Because she wants to give too. That's why Chizuru refuses to label her feelings as love, because she doesn't feel like she's giving him anything. Mommy wants unbribable love. Wants a better version of her first boyfriend. In a sense. That's the tragedy of mommy's character. What mommy wants is the freedom to love. She wants someone who's serious. She wants someone who, like, is actually fucking serious and won't back down. And so it's, I think what mommy wants is what Kazuya gives. And again, a part of it is also what she has lost. It's more of the picture of Kazuya rather than, well, Kazuya himself. That's kind of what, like, that's why I'm a little hesitant to say mommy loves Kazuya the person. I'm very hesitant to say that. Because if she loved Kazuya the person, well, she would apologize to Kazuya the person. She would actually try to put him first, but she's putting herself first, because what mommy really wants is to love herself. And so if she has someone who loves her, see what I mean? It's a kind of a parallel to Chizuru in a way. You know, I don't think mommy really knows what she wants, nor does she know how to change. And I don't know, she wants Kazuya, but I don't know if she wants Kazuya the person. I think she wants Kazuya the love. That's why I'm not sure about that. I think mommy does desire him. I just don't know if mommy wants Kazuya the person, because Kazuya the person keeps changing in front of her constantly. He's literally inconsistent. So how can you say mommy wants Kazuya the person? And I think it's no coincidence that mommy shows up at the same exact chapter Ruka shows up. It's no coincidence that she actively asks Kazuya, "Do I love you?" Because to her, he is the definition of love. What she desires, in my opinion, is Kazuya's love, not himself. She doesn't want Kazuya, she wants his love. Not his identity, his emotions. Because if it was his identity, she would actually look at him. She doesn't mind that he changed his hair. She doesn't mind that he looks like a different person, that he's acting like a different person, that he's seemingly inconsistent. She wants his love, not him. And I think that's thematically fitting, because I believe every girl around Kazuya wants his love, not him. Because few seem to actually fucking know him. Did you notice that? Ruka's the closest thing, and she also just wants his love. Ruka and Chizuru, and maybe Minnie, are like the closest to actually knowing Kazuya, and all of them are infatuated with his love. The only one who seems to question herself and doesn't want to just be in love with his love is Chizuru. The only one. Everyone else is content being in love with his feelings. Mami likes his feelings for Chizuru. Ruka likes his feelings. Sumi likes his feelings. Minnie likes his feelings. Chizuru's the only one who's put an effort in to know the real him and not be content with, I'll fall in love with his emotions. She wants Kazuya the vessel, not Kazuya the somebody. And it's really funny. What's the title of my fucking stream? The Perfect Vessel. What was the whole point of this chapter? I was literally talking about Chizuru is the perfect vessel, as you literally see a car behind her, a vessel to ride. Kazuya is the perfect vessel for Mami. Chizuru is the perfect vessel for Kazuya to disguise the ugliness they don't want to look at. Or Kazuya the heart, or whatever the opposite is. That's what I was saying, that their relationship will help these people understand real love. That's what I mean. Like, I don't think it'll fix them, but it'll help them learn what real love is. I think Mami seeing Kazuya and Chizuru's like real relationship might help her see what real love is. I think Chizuru seeing what Ruka is doing to Kazuya will make her question if she actually fucking loves him, which is really ironic because Ruka asks Kazuya, would you have sex with Chizuru now? Oh, you won't? Then maybe you don't really love her, because she measures the weight of love by the effort that you put in. Oh, you can't like grow a fucking boner right now? You can't like physically force your body to grow a boner and have sex with Chizuru right now? Oh, you must not love her enough. When in reality, looking at love that way proves that you might not be in love with this person anymore. I think Ruka is actually falling out of love with Kazuya. That's the sad part. I actually think she's falling out of love with Kazuya. She's literally forcing herself to be in love with him. Like, she's literally forcing herself to be in love with him when she might not actually have feelings for him anymore. Or at least they started fading. And I think Chizuru seeing that will be like, do you actually love him? Specifically because Ruka is essentially Chizuru's Sayuri. And what I mean by that is that Sayuri is flawed. She's not this perfect, immutable person that everyone presents her as. Whereas, what does Chizuru do with Ruka? She idolizes Ruka. She views Ruka as this perfect being. That Ruka is the one who's really in love. Chizuru is not in love. And yet, would someone who's in love do this to someone they love? Right? Would Ruka's actions really represent someone who's in love? I think Ruka is literally trying to force herself to be in love. Whereas Mami is kind of her opposite. Mami wants to be in love with Kazuya. She's in love with his feelings. But what she doesn't have, ironically, is she's forcing herself to be in love with him instead of actually getting the freedom she desires. What she actually desires is the freedom to love. She doesn't know that. Mami doesn't know how to change. And that's the thing, is like, I think a lot of people, even bad people, I think they just don't know how to change. And eventually, even when they learn, they don't want to change. It's to some, it's like an addiction, you know, being a piece of shit is kind of like an addiction. With Mami, I literally think she wants to change and doesn't know how. She literally doesn't see the light. Okay, so let's continue. Let's lay here. So to wrap it up, let's consider next time. Entrance. Remember about the tunnel I talked about that opens up in Umihotoro? The last image of the chapter is exactly how it would look like when exiting a tunnel. No. It's a circle with someone at the end of it. There's a framing about it, there's a framing about if Kazuya will let Ruka in. But the framing of the story is that Kazuya, who is about to exit the tunnel figuratively, he's about to enter the part arc where he won't be able to not see what's going on around him anymore. Yeah, he's literally... Oh, that's a good way to look at it. He's exiting the tunnel. Respect. He's exiting the tunnel. I also got to turn on the lights. And Ruka is the exact reason why that is. I also said this in the past. Like, okay, so pretty much I believe all of my predictions for when Ruka first came into Kazuya's place is what's going on now. So give me a sec. Let me turn on the lights. I gotta use the restroom one more time. Exiting the cave, as it were. Yes, exactly. You're literally exiting your Plato's cave. You're literally exiting the cave of ignorance. Oh, that's another way to look at it. They're literally all in Plato's cave. They're exiting the cave of ignorance. Oh. So no, I was literally saying, so like here, I'll pull it up. When we were talking about the Ruka chapters, there's a very particular thing we got to really focus on. Is it 405? Okay, if you remember, when Ruka showed up at Kazuya's place, what did Ruka do? She closed the curtains. And then what happened after Kazuya went into the restroom? She opened the curtains. Done hiding. This is me. This is who I am. She stands in light, and yet she herself is completely in shadow. Invisible in light. Unseen. She looks scary here, doesn't she? In reality, she's literally invisible. He doesn't see her. He's intimidated by her. And yet Ruka opened the light. She opened the door, or the window in this case. She opened the curtains. No more closed curtains. You're seeing me for me. You're seeing all the flaws. Okay. So he's about to enter the part of the arc where he won't be able to not see what's going on around him anymore. Yes, you have to open your eyes. It's literally when you walk out of the cave, one who knows nothing can understand nothing. Yeah, what was the intended line? Like the intended line was even if someone is blind or something like that, if someone doesn't understand, even if they were to see, they would understand nothing. Right? If someone doesn't know anything, even if they were to see something, they would never understand it. As they're literally in the cave. Yes, one who knows nothing can understand nothing. One who knows nothing, when they see, cannot understand anything. Yeah, so Kazuya is now going to have to, like, he's going to have to learn. He's going to have to get out of the cave. And Ruka is the reason, and that's the thing, I even said this too, Ruka is, ironically, some people are going to fucking hate me for this. Ruka, ironically, is not the problem, she is the solution. Ruka, ironically, is not the problem, she is the solution. In facing Ruka, in addressing her, in recognizing Ruka might not actually be in love with Kazuya anymore. Maybe you could realize, oh shit, I'm starting to see what love is. In enforcing these emotions, right? Maybe I need to end this relationship. Kazuya's about to open his fucking eyes. Right? It's so interesting. I think Ruka really is starting to fall out of love with Kazuya. You know? Like there's a distance. And I think in realizing Ruka is losing feelings for Kazuya because he doesn't see her. I think it'll be really interesting to explore, you know? Okay. And Ruka, okay, next time was a field of flowers, and I told you that the expression was like having your head in the clouds. In this chapter, Kazuya thinks of each of the girls one by one, except for one, Ruka. He had a head full of flowers, thinking about how amazing the date is going to be, only for reality to come knocking at the door. An entrance is the barrier between one place and another, and we have to make a choice about if we're going to keep it shut or take a step through. Pay close attention to what choice Kazuya makes next chapter. It should be trivial to just pass through and just start making your bridge over the ocean, but you can also turn around and head back into hiding. Yeah, I think he did a better explanation of exploring the Chizuru fantasy rather than Empty Glimmer. Sorry, Empty Glimmer. I actually think he explained the fantasy thing a little better, so that way I kind of just said, oh yeah, no, I can see it now. If we're crazy, at least we're the same kind of crazy. Premium review. There's a lot to focus on in this chapter about others perceive Kazuya, his photo, mommy's bean bun comment, the other people at the driving school. I see what you're getting at, and I don't agree. Not at all. This arc is very blatantly trying to frame Kazuya as the demon lord. From his laugh to the way the photo makes him look like a thug and how many views that happened to Ruka. I can see Chizuru being framed as the hero in that sense, but it hasn't really been established that what role she would fill. So I'm trying to speculate where the story could go. At least makes it clear the difference between framing and intent. It's not that the intent that Kazuya is the true villain, it's that the story wants to frame him currently as to make a point about perception. Kazuya, in my mind, is not evil, but society would more and more paint him as that superficially. Whereas Chizuru or Umi could be framed as the hero, so as to give the superficial impression that they are being righteous. Ultimately, no one will be good or bad. It's more of a tool for the story to play with the idea of perception and contrast. No, that's literally the idea. Like, Kazuya is not the villain, but doesn't most of the internet view him as the villain? Right? As far as the Prince Charming thing goes, that may be true that Chizuru but I'm more focusing on the current arc's framing. Chizuru seeing something different in Kazuya than what others see is kind of the big point, because it contrasts the Demon Lord framing. Others see monsters and she sees her love. Yeah, it's Beauty and the Beast. It's just Beauty and the Beast. Fucking hate comments like this. Oh, there isn't any meaningful dialogue. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. What you interpret as meaningful dialogue is different for everybody, dude. These kind of comments drive me up the wall. I got a dude the other day who was like, dude, your write-up is fucking amazing, but I doubt this was the author's intent. And then I literally pull up something Reiji said, and he's like, oh, okay. And I fucking lose it when people say this is not, like, when I'm talking about Hawaiians and people are like, this is not Reiji's intent. And then I'm just like, okay, then why all this? Right? Like, oh, I wrote an entire article about abuse and how Hawaiians is literally about abuse. And he's like, oh, I doubt this was Reiji's intent. And then I literally pull up like texts of Chizuru being labeled as a victim in the arc multiple times by Nagomi. And then Nagomi literally fucking turns her into a victim by attacking her. And not even mentioning the fact that Reiji literally had an entire, like his current arc is Kazuya as a victim. Two, he literally wrote an arc for the live action of the series where Chizuru was, where it literally plays out similar to Hawaiians. Okay, so like in the live action, it plays out similar to Hawaiians. Kazuya finds out about Mommy's backstory. Mommy gets slapped by her dad, just like her backstory. And then Kazuya goes to save Chizuru, who was literally about to be fucking sexually assaulted. She's a victim. The fact that that arc is so similarly close to Hawaiians, but Hawaiians inverts the roles, whereas instead of a man assaulting Chizuru, it's literally a fellow woman. No, so Chizuru was literally already fucking abused. She was abused by mommy in Hawaiians. But it's just a girl who did it this time, not a dude. And Nagomi literally becomes Chizuru's abuser in being the person who's trying to help her. That's the fucking irony. No, there is a discussion of abuse. It's fucking there. Chizuru is literally a marginalized person. She's literally vulnerable. She works a job where people fucking judge her and stigmatize her. You see stupid dipshits come into my goddamn chat every other day saying she's stealing money. Bro, you're a fucking idiot. Oh, speaking of which, let me pull up some of the things I wrote. So I wrote some stuff. It's incomplete thoughts. But bear with me. There is some good stuff on Reddit. That response, ironically, the one I was just discussing, was not from Reddit. The ones on Reddit had a lot of what I just said, where it's like they labeled Chizuru as a harlot, or they fixated on one aspect. So the one thing that really annoyed me about the post that I made that was kind of annoying to me is that I wrote this entire thing, and they fixate on one part where I addressed the fact that Kazuya had the part to play in the 3-month time skip. He made it last 3 months. It did not need to last 3 months. He made it last 3 months, period. Mini proves that without a shadow of a fucking doubt. And then they're just like, oh, you're blaming Kazuya for everything Chizuru did. And then they flip it all around and they're like, oh, well, Chizuru's all evil. And I'm like, the whole point of the arc is that they're both hurting each other. And Reiji recognized how you only saw one part of it. So he creates an entire arc structured around that idea. The fact that people fixate on this one element that I discussed, that's like a paragraph long in contrast to like a multi-page essay that I wrote, annoys me. I hate when people, instead of like seeing the whole picture, fixate on one aspect. It drives me up the fucking wall, especially because 2 seconds later, after that fact, I proceed to defend Kazuya and be like, he was treated like shit too. Oh shit! Kazuya was also treated like crap by his family and loved ones? Who could have seen that one coming? Oh, Chizuru heard Kazuya just as he heard her? Oh, who could have seen that one coming? Sorry, I just get really annoyed when people fixate on really dumb shit and you literally show them proof that they're wrong and they just refuse. So, let's see. So the way I describe this chapter is a perfect... So this is for chapter 423. So for chapter 423, my description for it is a beautiful, perfect vessel to disguise our ugliness. A disguise for the real problems that need solving. A lie hidden in the shadow of the light. You can't escape your guilt. The perfect vessel for the part of you that you are unwilling to look at. The fantasy correction, let's see. The fantasy that our mind desperately craves, for it lacked that in real life, right? Our mind desperately craves this fantasy because it didn't have this fantasy in real life. Kazuya has been trying to fix his confession so he doesn't have to accept the ugliness of his real one, or how his second was interpreted. Kibe interpreting Kazuya's first confession is thematically fitting as he robbed his friend and in some ways saved him. For Kazuya and Chizuru were not in even ground when Kazuya first said it. What am I referring to here? When Kazuya first confessed, he's on the floor. Chizuru's standing. So when Kibe, tells him his lie is bullshit, and they fight, and he makes him regret everything, notice how they're standing right next to each other. They're on even ground. When Chizuru kisses him, she gets up to his height. They're both standing. Kazuya's first confession, what did Kazuya say about it? This is Kazuya's confession, by the way. He already confessed. This was his confession. What did Kazuya say about it? If there were a list of the worst confessions in human history, what's about to happen next would top that list for sure. Kazuya is trying to fix his first shitty confession. Kibe interrupting Kazuya's first confession is thematically fitting as he robbed his friend and in some ways saved him. For Kazuya and Chizuru were not on even ground when Kazuya first said it. Yet it was heard all the same. Yet again, his true first confession was uneven too. There is no such thing as even ground confessions, but that does not mean you must be beaten down and erased in doing so. Okay? So literally the whole idea is that Kazuya wants to fix his confession. And yet, where do you see Kazuya confessing? It's a slope. He's confessing on a slope. It looks beautiful. It looks perfect. Something's wrong with this picture. It's a fucking slope. They're not real people. They're not actually visible. You don't see their faces. You just see blushes and the wind. Now, this is an interesting one that I want to read for you guys. So I wrote this thing. Okay, you know how everybody is like saying Reiji is self-inserting? Okay, you know how everybody's saying Reiji is self-inserting, right? So let me talk about that. Kazuya is Reiji, but he isn't. He is Reiji's alter ego, if you will. What do I mean? See, Kazuya is both an expression of Reiji himself, but he's also his own character. Kazuya was somewhat written, ironically, around Reiji's brother. In particular, Kazuya is if Reiji didn't have his brother who took over the family business and Reiji was free to work on manga. What if Reiji had taken over the family business and couldn't dream? It's fascinating that, and Reiji doesn't dismiss his brother and say there's like, it's terrible that his brother took over. He thinks it's totally acceptable and normal. It's fascinating then that Kazuya's current lifestyle is like Reiji as he starts to pursue a fictional ideal. Something that is not real. As if Kazuya is a mangaka. Kazuya is literally losing his identity as himself and becoming Reiji, if you will. Mangakas create art to express themselves to others, and Kazuya is literally trying to express himself to a fictional Chizuru, not the real one. It's, ironically, a self-aware exploration and explanation of how an artist can lose themselves in their work. In Kazuya starting to look like Reiji, it is Reiji intentionally exploring the difference between him and Kazuya and how he feels about his own art, mirroring the statements that he made in interviews. Sorry, I think I lost my place. Let me oh, sorry. I think I lost my place. Let me reread that. It is Reiji intentionally exploring the differences between him and Kazuya and how he feels about his own art, mirroring the statements he made in interviews, that these characters are their own people, that he is writing his own story with his own goals, but he wants to be true to the characters and they can control the pace at times. And as he is forcing change, so too do you see them lose themselves in that change. As many constantly tells Kazuya and Chizuru how to change. They lose themselves, their identity, much like how an audience tells an author how to write, or who the characters should be, or how the editor can guide his writer to a certain direction. In the end, we must decide for ourselves who we are and what we want. This makes a lot more sense when you start seeing some of the things I talked about with Reiji, when you listen to some of the things Reiji said on his Twitter space. In particular, Reiji has been constantly talking about this idea of not just listening to people, not just listening to what people say, learning who to listen to and who to not listen to. He brings this up almost every Twitter space he does. And I don't think that's by accident. Because what is he doing with Kazuya right now? He is listening to the readers. He's doing what you want. Isn't this what you want? Kazuya is becoming a Chad. He's working out. He's gonna confess. He changed his hair. He's becoming a man. He's giving you exactly what you want. And you, in your delusion, love it. He's literally becoming Reiji. Isn't this what you want? He's making Kazuya the self-insert. He's your self-insert now too, right? Isn't this what you want? He's literally bastardizing it on purpose. In the end, we must decide for ourselves who we are and what we want. This is about autonomy and how Reiji is intentionally robbing characters of autonomy, just like the readers love to say, as a reflection of how the world can rob us of autonomy if we let it. If we give up control, Kazuya is not Reiji, but a reflection of him. However, in forcing the narrative to go a certain way, he starts becoming Reiji, and thus not himself, losing his identity and becoming someone else. And in being Reiji, he also isn't. Because neither Kazuya nor Reiji can truly be the other person. Much like how AI can never truly replicate someone's art, but rather give back a twisted interpretation of it. That's what Kazuya is now. An interpretation of how people view Reiji and how Reiji sees that and himself. Thus, Kazuya is nobody. A person with no identity. Then what he is defined for him, how people define him. And that is the point. Kazuya is nobody except for what people define him. That is the point. He is not Reiji. He is an interpretation of how people see Reiji. Holy shit. Reiji cooked. When will Kazuya not listen to the readers? Why are you asking me things I can't fucking predict? Why are you asking me things? Here, I'll give you my prediction. When this arc hits its climax, when we have the big low into the shift, that's when it's going to happen. We're at the midpoint when we have the shift, right? So once we have the shift around here, that's when it's going to happen. You could say he is the biggest nobody of them all. I'm the biggest nobody of them all. Grows his hair super long, puts on a blindfold, dyes his hair white. Everybody out here fucking standing Gojo, and I'm over here like, bitch, shut the fuck up. I stand Riku. Riku is the OG Gojo. Shut the fuck up. Look at the OG Gojo. Riku KH2. Look at OG Gojo over here. Look at this motherfucker. Look at OG Gojo, dude. Look at my edgy boy. I would not be surprised. I would not be even remotely surprised if Gojo was somewhat inspired by Riku. I would not even be remotely surprised. I'm fucking real with you. No, I would not even be remotely surprised. Like, are you shitting me, bro? Riku, the goat, the hot baby boy. He's so edgy, I love him. He's so edgy, I love him. The biggest nobody of them all. What a double entendre. I gotta continue playing Kingdom Hearts. Sora looking at Ansem. Riku cries on the floor. I don't get it. It is I, Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness. Riku's domain expansion, unlimitless. What would Riku's domain expansion be? Oh, you know what he would call it? The Road to Dawn. Ooh! Ooh! No, seriously. Riku's domain expansion would just be called The Road to Dawn. Peak. Peak. Oh. Oh, that would be so fucking peak. I gotta continue Kingdom Hearts 2, dude. I gotta keep going. I'll see. So tomorrow we gotta stream the next episode. Maybe Thursday I can continue. Yeah, maybe Thursday I can continue with Kingdom Hearts 2. It's been a while. I put it off for a little bit. So tomorrow I'll continue. We'll watch the latest episode. We'll talk about that. And then I think Thursday I'll continue Kingdom Hearts 2. So we'll keep going with that. It's been a hot minute. We just finished Roxas's story. I think the last thing we did was finish Roxas's story. So now we're on to Sora. Now we're getting into the game. Now we're getting into the games. Get up on the Hydra's back. Consume the darkness, return it to the light. Oh, right? See, I told you. Doesn't it sound good? Domain expansion. Road to Dawn. I also gotta show off my skills. I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 2 on critical mode. I gotta show off my skills and go nuts. I'm debating if I should play, like, if I should do one of the runs on, like, level 1. I've never done a level 1 run of any Kingdom Hearts game. I've never done a level 1 run of any Kingdom Hearts game. I'm debating doing it. I don't know which one, though. Because I've already started Kingdom Hearts 2. We already got pretty far in Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't know which one to do it with. Yeah, I'm not sure which one I would do it with. Definitely not BBS. I feel like BBS on level 1 would be kind of brutal. Well, unless I had... Actually... I could do BBS on level 1. Yeah, that doesn't sound too crazy. I beat level 1 Recoded, bruh. I've only played Recoded like a few times. I never beat it level 1. The 2 games I haven't... So the 3 games, actually, that I haven't played in a long time from Kingdom Hearts are Recoded, Days, and Dream Drop. Which is really sad, because Dream Drop used to be one of my favorites. But I haven't touched it. I actually never beat the HD remaster. I never beat the HD remaster of Dream Drop. Okay. Anything from Varicus? Whoa, what? Kazuya wonders how he should say that he loves her. He can't really you can't really see it in the translation, but he asks himself if he should say that he likes her very much, Daisuke, or that he loves her deeply, Aishiteru. He basically wonders if he should call his feelings koi or ai. Ai is regarding as the deeper form of love, but it doesn't need to be romantic. You don't usually confess with I. Chizuru asks him on the date how he could say that he liked her, Suki. He imagines that he would certainly ask how he could say that he deeply loved her, I. If he were to say that, it looks like Kazuya is also not quite sure what would describe his feelings best. He wonders if he should just show her through actions how he feels. Now that I think back on how Chizuru felt unable to put her feelings into words, he remembers how much she struggled with it and how devastated she was on the way home that she couldn't find an answer. And yet here he is being unable to find an answer. While he himself might be sure about his feelings, he now starts to see how difficult it is to actually put them into words, especially if you can't just say, I love you. Since she struggled more than him, he wants to give her the answer she was looking for. I don't think he means he wants to decide for her. I think he wants to convey his feelings to show he is, though. Whether it is Kazuya's intent to decide for her or not, he is. That is the problem. Right? That is literally the problem. Whether it is his intent to decide for her or not, he is. He is deciding for her. That is the sad truth. I think he wants to convey his feelings to show Chizuru how to convey hers. Feels like the right approach is in there somewhere, but Kazuya isn't quite there yet. Ruka used the word in chapter to say she didn't like the entrance. Kazuya now stands in said entrance with Ruka outside his door. If he opens the door, he has to be ready to deal with the consequences. I don't think he's ready. He has not come to terms with his guilt, and he's rather ignored the problem instead of thinking of a way to deal with Ruka. He might think he has to confront her somehow, but he won't feel prepared to do so now. I predicted that he will freeze, unable to bring himself to open the door or even answer. He will just stand there until Ruka goes away again. Kazuya just can't face her. This would be incredibly ironic since it also happened to Chizuru in chapter 232. She literally froze. She couldn't move. He's right. She literally froze. She couldn't move. She just kind of sat there. And then she crawled on the floor after he walked away. She literally couldn't move. She froze. He might end up also ignoring Ruka's messages. It would be nice if she realized that this is how Chizuru's ghosting started, but I doubt it. Ruka is more confident than Kazuya, but I still see her come to the conclusion that Kazuya might hate her now. That would complete the parallel. But then again, when did the manga ever go the way I imagined it going? Okay. When Kazuya sees Mommy, he decides to act like nothing happened. This is easier for him to confront it, yes. He's still incredibly conscious of her and overthinks her every reaction. He hasn't found the peace with her dumping him and still cares what Mommy thinks of him. Mommy, on the other hand, tells Kazuya completely out of context that he's still like a beatbone, acknowledging that her brother conclusion might have truth to it. Kazuya's date plan ended to go to Mother Farm, the Singapore event, shown in the manga as an actual current event you can visit, and you will still be going until September 27th. This is a good day spot. Just like with Joypolis on the rainy day, he has found a place that fulfills the requirements. This starts to go the same way as the last day. Once he found a suitable location, he began to plan meticulously. I can see him doing this again. He basically wants to do the same as last time, but be better. I just think, I still think that the whole big plan is a big bad idea. Last time I expected things to go wrong, but you could almost say that Kazuya has failed by success. I want him to be failure this time and succeed in so doing. Kazuya last time failed successfully. This time, I think he needs to successfully fail. I think. Or his failure will end up resulting in success. Whereas last time, the success ended in failure. I don't know. Shut up. A quick research shows that the practical driver's exam is very difficult and a lot of people fail the first time. You will fail if you don't follow very accurate procedures during the test. For his plan to work, Kazuya can't afford to fail the test since he would have to wait to retake it. You're being lured into a false sense of security. You know, I can't stop feeling like things are the same but different. And I know that the moment this place looks like it's not the same as the rental and it's fresh. But I end up reminding myself of how the final movie scene is a very similar place to the farm. However, the final movie scene has no pretense of a date or a rental or anything. It's completely just the time alone. Except Chizuru is dressed for the film. And they're supposed to be filming. However, Chizuru removes the pretense. Can you place a mother farm even come close to the real intimacy of their time together? They even share a room together. It's kind of crazy how easy it is to forget the pivotal moments of the past. Exactly. Kazuya initially says the car ride is a good idea because it's a private, intimate space for the two of them. Then the farm is a completely opposite, an open space in daylight and the other people around. Ooh, something else is replicated here. The area to go afterwards was just full of couples, just like Odaiba. Shit. July 11th may replicate very similar elements to these of the past. The attempts to confess in Hawaiians, the film's ending far from the city, the entertainment activities in Joypolis, the atmosphere of the last rental date. Just to riff off your list, Ferris wheel like the uniform date. The animals are kind of like a land version of the aquarium, crossing the ocean like the ferry in Shimada. Except now you can actually interact with the animals. It's also interesting to note that Chizuru used the setting of the last scene to convey her true feelings to Kazuya. It was not a "I love you" like Kazuya wished for, but I think, oh yeah, and Kazuya literally misunderstood in that scene. He thought she was going to confess to him. We're being led to believe some sort of confession is going to happen. We're going to get a reversal, and that's going to be better. You're being chabated. It is unfortunate that Kazi can't see how Chizuru has tried to convey her feelings for him in the words and actions for a long time already. He just now started to realize how hard that is. It's like Kazi never really appreciated what Chizuru did. Exactly, he didn't. He seemingly refuses to see what in front of his face is love without actually seeing the damn thing. Could be referencing the idea that she isn't doing enough. I also think so. Kazuya didn't see how she struggled to express herself, even though she told him before the last scene that she didn't have the words to express her gratitude. So Kazuya didn't validate her feelings. It's not the reason why she undervalues them, but it didn't help her value those feelings more than Kazuya didn't. I know, I think she did value them. I kind of disagree. I think there's actually times he does put in her shoes, like moments of reflection in chapter 4 and 15, or this chapter, where he feels like the worst person and then recalls Chizuru. What he probably hasn't done is fully connect the two consciously. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. I think that's a good run through of all this stuff. There was some stuff from Jojo Maniacal. I'll move it here since it's just a private discussion between me and him, but I'll read some of it for you guys. So we're talking about Ruka, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna see the list then, and realize all the effort she saw was for Chizuru, that she meant nothing. Her prince makes her return to the very monochrome world he rescued her from. Maybe she forces her away, thinking he's actually having sex with Chizuru. Yeah, that's one guess I had. Is that I'm like, oh, what if Ruka sees him sweating, and sees him not wanting to let her in, and thinks he's having sex with Chizuru inside? Right? Because she tried to do that, so he wouldn't did it with Chizuru. And then she forces in only to get something completely different. She's just like, I meant fucking nothing. Because he stays in the entrance and closes the door, trying to stop her from coming in, she thinks Chizuru is there, a mirror to Mommy, who when she isn't. Right? So Mommy shows up and she sees Chizuru's bag, and she's like, "Oh, Chizuru was in there," but everything was for real. Was for her all this time, as Ruka realizes she was never the first for him in any way. And I said maybe it's like Ruka was always at the entrance, like literally. She never really entered his life, and he technically ghosted her this whole time without her even realizing it. Or maybe Ruka might try to cross another line, who knows? That could be risky writing wise. So yeah, I've written a little bit about Ruka here and there. So I've written a few stuff about Ruka here and there. It's rough being a Ruka stan. Ruka is a good character. I think Ruka is a good character. She's actually bumped up a little on my list recently. I actually like Ruka. I don't hate her. She's actually definitely bumped up in my list recently. I've started to appreciate her a lot more. Like I started realizing how well written Ruka actually is. Like Ruka is actually a really good character and very misunderstood. I was literally saying earlier, Ruka is not the problem, she's the solution. But I remember when I was talking about Ruka in the past, I was talking about like how anger? Was it anger? Ruka isn't simply about indecision, as Kazuya clearly downed her in the past and rejected her advances. He did decide. No, this is about an unfair, selfish, and cruel choice Kazuya must make to unilaterally end the relationship so she will understand. I don't know if I still fully agree with this, but let's see. Ruka is abusing her privilege as a girl, something Kazuya deeply fears in himself as a man. The Ruka Kazuya might end up strength. Kazuya's journey of growing up, becoming a dom, blah 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 blah. Ruka solution. Maybe I'll write that. See what I get. Open the curtain. Yeah, Ruka doesn't want to pretend anymore. Yeah, she's sick of it. She's sick of pretending. Whereas Kazuya wants to keep pretending. Throughout the month where Kazuya and Chizuru lived together, Ruka pretended she didn't know about the pair, but secretly she had suspicions. She had all the pieces to figure it out, but didn't want to. Now she's trying to go back to her escapism, and she can't. The curtain is open. The curtain is literally open. His fate arrives all the same. The truth is starting to appear in front of Kazuya, whether he likes it or not. In the end of 418, she tries to separate herself from it, becoming more like her usual self, while Kazuya tells her keep distance. Yeah, reality is catching up to them. While Chizuru is haunted by the word kiss and Kazuya is haunted by his lust, Ruka is haunted by the truth. She said she's okay with being second, and slowly but surely she starts to learn what that means. Ruka acts calm when Kazuya tells her, but she detaches. She doesn't like it. Ruka time traveled like Kazuya when she's barely in the chapters, but like Kazuya, she's also in the wrong timeline. Why did I save this? Damn. Okay, I might call it here. It's getting a little late, and I gotta get up early tomorrow. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for the episode, and then hopefully after that we got what is it? We got a little more Kingdom Hearts. Hopefully, I'd like to do some. Question: Did Reiji answer? Did I heard Reiji answers fan questions? Kind of. He'll answer some questions, but he's not like, if you're gonna ask him how's the manga gonna end, he's not gonna tell you. You have to like kind of plan your questions accordingly. So like he's not gonna just answer anything and everything, and he's not gonna like uber spell it out either. Like that's kind of the big thing. He's not gonna uber spell it out for you either. His answers require you to think a little bit. Where like he'll give you an answer, but then like when you start piecing together what he's saying, and you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's kind of how Reiji answers. So it really does depend. Like, did you have a specific question you wanted to ask? I might be able to answer it for you. Oh yeah, and there was this. I wrote this crazy now, like a riddle. No, not like a riddle. It's not like a riddle. It's just like it might not make sense because you're not getting clear translations. That's what I mean. And what I mean, he doesn't like super spell it out for you. So like if you ask about Mami and Chizuru, he'll just be like, for example, what he said to me is that Mami is just Chizuru with different circumstances. Had Chizuru been in a similar environment as Mami, they could have possibly ended up the same. Something like that. You see what I mean? So it's like and that requires you to think about it a little bit, and you start viewing Mami a little differently. And this was in response to like when I was talking about Mami being Kazuya's abuser. He doesn't deny that she was his abuser. He merely says Mami is a victim of her environment, and she doesn't know how to change. And so while she is someone who hurt Kazuya, she's also a victim too. and that was kind of what he was trying to highlight. See what I mean? So it's like he's not gonna deny your answer, but he's not gonna like spell it the fuck out for you. And then yeah, I would like to read this at some point. I think the biggest thing is like I came up with like the perfect description of Hawaiians. And unfortunately it got like 2 likes because it was the end of a post. I believe the core message of Hawaiians is that kindness is never hopeless. Niceness is. When you're nice, you do it because you feel bad or you don't want to see you don't want to say what needs to be said. It's kind of for you. Kindness is when you're true to yourself, even if you lie. And kindness is never hopeless. Niceness is. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a night here. And I'm gonna get to bed and get some rest. I am babit. I'm tired. I'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow when when the new episode comes out. This should be fun. See you guys later. Have a good night. Take care. And remember, let's mosey.